Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, the 16th of July, 2025. I'm Graham Hughes. You're watching Morning Brew on Politics Social. The council meeting that we'll be covering today isn't going to start for an hour. I was going to make it a separate episode and just talk about, reform, RefUK, for the first hour and then shunt you all across to the next broadcast. But I think I just roll it into one. I just think just so you don't have to move about in cyberspace, I'm going to make it so it's all one show. So we'll just continue on from this at 10 o'clock if you want to join the watch party of the carnage, the beginning of the carnage that is going to come to this fair county of Durham, thanks to the RefUK's. They're the people to not trust. Really, no, don't trust them. They're evil. Don't touch it. It's evil. Anyway, before we get into all that, though, I want to say a big hi to Martin Harrow and Lemon Twist and Veg Pie and Paula Thomas and Philip Crossley. We've got Scott in there as well. We've got Inclusive Dreamer. We've got Graham Hallow and Chris C. We've got Diz, One Angry Pagan, and many others. Shin Z is in there. Paul Ewan, David H., Sarah Davis. Hello, one and all. If you would like to join our wonderful friends in the wonderful chat, all you need to do is hit the wonderful subscribe button and wait for 1 minute, and then you can opine fairly freely. Not as freely as you can on, I don't know, Twitter, because obviously you can just write whatever you like on that. And Vok thinks that it's Adolf Hitler now for some reason. What a time to be alive. So we're just going to be talking about a few of RefUK's fuck-ups so far. There's been a lot. There's been a few. There's been many. There's been too many, one might say. In Kent County Council, there's been a third of meetings have been cancelled. 1/3 since taking control at the beginning of May. They scrapped 7 of the 20 June meetings, and now even July gatherings. July gatherings were also pushed back because they don't know what they're doing. And councillors said the administration had essentially become a decision-free zone. So, I mean, they've had 2.5 months to get their shit together. And even now in July, they're still struggling. The all-volunteer Department of Government Efficiency, Jesus wept, the Doge team, meant to slash waste. They lost 2 senior members, within a week, one of whom had led 3 companies, one now insolvent, leaving it rather rudderless. And there were legal clashes over GDPR. They were fighting off the Kent's legal team were fighting off Doge's attempts to access personal and commercial data, and showing that these volunteer auditors can't get in. They said, "Look, listen, this is against the law for you to see this stuff." And the Doge team for Kent County Council were like, "No, we can do it now. We can do it now." Here in Durham, we've seen Pride and Ukrainian flags banned. The new leader ruled that flying flags or Ukrainian Pride or Ukrainian flags in the council chambers was a distraction. Reform also claimed that they removed transgender-themed books from libraries. A claim that was later debunked. The books were simply moved away from children's displays. Libraries clarified no books were removed. They've also nixed diversity jobs. They've said with barely, 5 FTE diversity staff across 10 councils, RefUK still threatened to axe them, claiming massive savings, despite it being less than 0.01% of their budgets. And they've also targeted Sen Transport. They've spotlighted £24,000 spend on activities for asylum seekers and Sen Transport costs. But this show of savings ignored statutory duties and triggered legal and political backlash. I just think it's a bit ironic considering how many councillors who were elected RefUK councillors who thought they were paper councillors, didn't actually think they were going to have to do the job, then immediately stood down, causing by-elections, triggering local by-elections all over the country, had a cost of about £24,000 a pop. Money saving, yeah, which we had to pay for. We had to pay for that. And then we've got, vetting roulette. RefUK have dumped formal candidates in favour of formal candidate vetting in favour of common sense. Reopening doors for previously rejected, underqualified or extremists who want to join the RefUK fold. And then they have politicised staff, those staff who aren't elected, posed with party figures and railed against foreign aid. Foreign aid, yeah, why are we giving money to foreigners? This is the same party that wants us to give a huge chunk of our income to foreigners to buy their fucking oil off them. Their filthy foreign oil. They want us to spend nearly a third of our income buying fuel from abroad. That's what they want. These are the same weirdos who are absolutely obsessed with the rich being able to have Coots bank accounts, which is very, very important once you're a multi-millionaire, that you should be allowed to have a Coots bank account. They want to go down the same route, presumably as Donald Trump, and making it so that a private jet is something that you can write off as a tax dodge. And as long as you use it 50% of the time for business dealings. Nigel Farage, the leader of the party, famously the guy who doesn't speak very much. He speaks a lot. He says a lot of words, but he never really speaks much about the pilot who eventually took himself out a couple of years after the crash that they had in 2011, which Farage, survived, and so did the pilot, and the pilot suffered mental health issues, and Nigel Farage, who is the richest MP, he's making so much money as an MP. It's ridiculous. This guy's always been rich. He was born into a wealthy family. He went to a private school. He worked in the city of London as a janitor or something. But he got lots of money for it because they do. Money creates money. He was on the EU gravy train, getting over £1 million a year, which he spent on his wife and mistress. And yet he didn't have any money to help pay for the mental health services that the pilot of the plane that crashed with him in it clearly needed in the run up to him taking himself out. But he had better things to spend money on, like, I don't know, convincing the country to go for Brexit, a thing that affects us but not him. As I say a million times on this channel, it doesn't affect the people who told you to vote for Brexit. They can still live and work in Europe. We can't. We cannot do that anymore. Our children cannot do that anymore. His kids can. They've got European passports. He can. He's fucking rich. He can afford the travel documents, the visas, the work permits, the residentia, fucking yellow cards, whatever they're called. Green cards even. Yellow cards is for vaccinations. He can afford the green cards, whatever he needs. And yet, here we are. People thinking that Nigel Farage, multi-millionaire Coots bank account holder, is a man of the people. He's just like us because he hates the foreigners. He doesn't really hate the foreigners, because if he really hated the foreigners, he wouldn't want to be. He wouldn't want a situation where we are, as British people, completely beholden to the machinations of what the hell is happening in Libya or Angola or Nigeria or Saudi Arabia at any time of any given year. Oh, what's happening? Oh, has that made the price of oil go up? Oh, okay. Has Russia invaded Ukraine? Has that made the price of gas go up? Oh, is that fed into inflation? Has that made the cost of living go up again? Oh, okay. That's interesting, Nigel. Thanks for that. And then we've got the political tourism of the RefUK fuckers, the holiday mode leadership after all the cancellations and resignations. The council leader in Kent took a holiday. Actually, I think the council leader here took a holiday as well. And then, despite these grand claims in Kent, they delivered absolute zero real policy changes or savings so far, just headlines and flip-flopping. And, in Kent, reform and not getting anything done. They're just getting headlines because the subservient BBC will obviously just print whatever RefUK asked them to because they all went to school together. You've got to understand that all these people know each other. They all hang out with each other in their private members clubs and underground orgies. Got to understand that. Once you realise that they're all linked, you realise why they get all the top jobs and you don't. It's not a case of the middle class versus the working class. It is not a case of native Brits versus immigrants. It is a case of us versus them, and them are the multi-millionaires who are running all this shit. Narren Banks, Richard Tice, Andy Wigmore, Nigel Farage, all born millionaires. All went to private school. All have never, ever, ever had to scramble down the back of the sofa for 20p to put in the electricity meter. They wouldn't even know what that was. They've got people to do that kind of thing. Hello, this is my 20p scrabbler. Go look at the back of my sofa. Go and find some 20p's to put in the meter. To heat up my country pile. Excuse me now, I've got to go. I've got to get on my private jet to fly 5 minutes down the road to get some milk from the shop. And they're laughing. They're like, you look at the temperature now in the UK, well above average. But look at the temperature of the Med. In some places, it's up over 6 degrees. It's baking. It's boiling the water. Well, it's not boiling the water, but it's making the water too hot for fish to survive. The Mediterranean is going to become a big dead sea very soon with no fucking fish in it because we're heating up the world, clearly. And what does Crafty Wank and his mates at Durham County Council want to do? They want to get rid of all of our net zero targets for this county. They probably want to get rid of all the recycling and they want to make everything plastic again. They want plastic bags with every purchase. You buy a can of Coke, they put it in a little tiny plastic bag with a little plastic straw under the tab. There you go. Thank you. Absolutely disgraced. Absolutely disgraceful. And, there's some bingo bait tonight. Darren Grimes' latest, he likes to shout out eco-fantasy. I don't know what his eco-fantasy is, but he likes to shout it out quite a lot. And, the idea that the culture wars are a distraction. Really? Really? These are the people who create culture wars. And now they're going, oh, yeah, distractions. Yeah, we can't have pride flags. We can't have books about transgender people. What we're going to have instead is we're going to drill down on the anti-climate change. The anti-climate change. Oh God, I wish. We're going to drill down on the climate change denialism. There's climate change denialism because we need to believe a shiny-faced fuck, a haunted ventriloquist puppet like Darren Grimes over the judgment about the natural world and the intelligence and the experience about the natural world. We need to listen to this trumped up little shit, what's his name, Darren Grimes, over that of Sir David Attenborough. So Darren Grimes is saying Sir David Attenborough is full of shit. Yeah. So this is the day when we're having our first full county council meeting here in Durham, like 2.5 months after the election. It tells you how incompetent these people are. They're turning a county council into a cunty council. I hope that gets past the censors. But, oh my God, it's happening. People have voted for them and people think that they're their mates. You know, these people who vote for these fuckers are the same people like Timothy Treadwell, the little guy with the squeaky voice who went to Alaska to go live with the bears because they thought the bears were his friends. Bears weren't his friends. They fucking ate him. And that's what RefUK are going to do to this county. Because they are the party of the multimillionaires. Are you a multimillionaire? No? Well, don't vote for them then. Because they are going to do nothing for you. Zero. Zilch. The fact that Nigel Farage is still in politics. He is an elected member of Parliament for one of the poorest areas in the country. While he's swanning off, going to America every week to go and visit his friend Donald Trump by standing outside his balcony and shouting up at him, Donny, look at me, Donny. Donny, look at me. Look at me, Donny. Why aren't you looking at me? Why aren't you looking at your friend Nigel Farage? Meanwhile, the people of Clacton are getting fuck all because he's not there. He hasn't even opened a fucking surgery for them. Sorry, I did warn there'll be swears this morning because I am a little bit ranty. A little tiny bit ranty, you know, because here in Durham and in Kent and in Staffordshire and in some other councils around the country, we have decided to, as a group, as a community, we decided to elect absolute feckless morons to lead us. We put dickheads in charge because racism, because xenophobia, because transphobia, because everything I don't like is woke. And we've got to be nice. I don't. The poor bastards who are like actual elected officials here who aren't part of RefUK have to be nice to the people who voted RefUK. I don't. I don't have to be nice to anyone. My channel, my sketch, my rules. I mean, you've got to be a gobshite to vote for gobshites, haven't you? Just saying. I know there's a lot of that, James O'Brien sort of thinking on this, where people go, "Oh no, actually, these people were lied to. These people were lied to. It's not their fault. Leave them alone. It's not their fault." And I'm like, yeah, I think it is. I think it is their fault. They know what they're getting into. Here we go. We got some messages come in from Joanna. We got, "Oh, definitely my fault. I managed to cut back minimum nothing with to save a buffer, but when they cocked up when they moved me, how could I possibly do nothing and save? I don't know, Joanna. The DUP should have one computer system they use for all welfare entitlements, not several systems that never talk to each other." Yep, good point, Chrissy. Interconnectivity is where it's at. Integrate, Chris. This is a disgusting idea. Yeah. Integration. How dare you? How very dare you? Captain Coconut, I think of reform voters as the grumbles from Monty Python. I believe the cloth cap attitude and complete idiocy are very fitting for them. Were they called the grumbles? I thought they were called the Gumbies. I once did the cross-country at school dressed as a Gumby in wellies and shorts and a hanky on my head. And I was holding a haddock. I think I had a haddock and a can of Spam. I came second, got into lots of trouble. Graham, they know what an electricity meter is. They own the companies making them and have shares in the energy companies using them. That's very true, Aqua Dave. Thank you very much for that. We don't put 20p in them anymore, though. Chris C., there is an exclusive article about how an asylum seeker hotel is sent up of violent protests following reported sex attacks by one asylum seeker. It's in Essex. Pardon me. Scott Walton, I saw the title and came to watch Grimes getting his slimy arse handed to him. We've got to wait till 10 o'clock. So if you want to come back at 10, my friend, you're very welcome to do so, Scott. But otherwise, you have to listen to me ranting on for about an hour. An hour, yeah. Until the meeting gets started. Paul Ewan, thank you very much. Rank cash or coffee, probably ranting. Thank you very much, Paul. That is very, very kind of you. He did not get sanctioned, by the way. This is Anne. They hauled him in to discuss it. I do wonder what kind of directive they were under. This would have been when IDS was SOS, the Department of Work and Pensions. Chrissy, not in the headline, it was in the article where they continue to accuse the court to out the accused and the nationality, which they wouldn't do if it was a white person. Well, indeed they wouldn't. Freckle Puny, now we should be aware that Farage cannot hold surgeries in fear of being stabbed, says Freckle Puny. I'm sure he can afford a security guy. The guy makes over £1 million a year from his side hustles, never mind the 90,000 he earns a year from being an MP. But, he's got to sell oil. He's got to sell gold. Or as Black Elf like to call it, the useless yellow metal that makes white man go crazy. We've got some more messages coming in here. But I think people are having their own conversation, so I don't read out just a message without reading it first. I'm usually confronted by this fact that I'm like, Probably should have read that before I actually read it out loud. But then it would mean I stop talking and the emergency tape kicks in. Not that we have an emergency tape, but you know what I mean. So anyway, scrapping net zero. Let's talk about this, right? This is Durham declared a climate emergency in 2019, and it's aiming for a 2045 net zero target. Reform wants to rip it up, blaming climate policy for funding gaps in SEND, special educational needs. Like, what? How is one linked to the other? By going green, we save money. What is it that they don't understand about this? What is it? What is so complicated that they can't understand that it's cheaper to pluck energy from the air and transport it at the speed of light into your car or your vehicle or into your house? How can they not see that that is a much more efficient and a much cheaper way of delivering energy than digging foreign slime out of the ground or offshore in Angola and putting it in a big tanker and bringing it to the UK and then doing some fucking fractal distillation bullshit and then getting the petrol out of it and then transporting that petrol to a petrol station, storing that petrol in a petrol station and then having to drive to the petrol station to fill up your car with that filthy foreign fucking oil slime, and then you can drive. How do they think that's more efficient? How do they think that's cheaper? We are paying high energy bills because gas is so expensive. Because the majority of our gas now comes from Qatar. Qatar. Most of these knobheads who vote for RefUK couldn't find Qatar on a map if their life depended on it. So I'll just let them know that if they know where the Saudi Peninsula is, I don't necessarily the Arabian Peninsula is, I don't think they do. But if they do, it's on the right-hand side, the eastern side. Yeah, so that means that you've got to go all the way around Oman. You've got to go all the way around, you've got to go through that little gap, you know, between Yemen and Eritrea and the top bit of Somalia. You know that where all the pirates are? You know where the people are with the rocket launchers standing there, the Houthis in Yemen, firing rockets at these ships going past? Yeah, and then they've got to go through the Suez Canal, which costs tens of thousands of pounds for the pilotage to go through the fucking canal. Oh, and by the way, to make the gas cool enough to, transport it as liquid takes a shitload of energy, and these cargo ships, and half the cargo ships in the world are just moving fossil fuels around. So if we didn't use fossil fuels, the seas would be so much cleaner. They use bunker oil. And on a trip from Qatar to the UK, they would use roughly about the size of a Olympic swimming pool's full of water. Okay, so imagine an Olympic swimming pool. Imagine that full of the dirtiest black oil, shit oil, right? Bunker oil. They actually spin it on the ship themselves, right? And then that gets put into the motor. And they are allowed to dump that oil in international waters. There's not much to stop them. I don't think they're meant to put it in any protected areas. But if it's not a protected area and they've got a load of leftover black gunk that looks like, I don't know, venom from the Spider-Man comics, you can just dump that in the water. It's fine. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. And then finally, these ships get to the UK. And also, these ships are highly, highly flammable. If one of those ships, that you can identify the gas ships because they have these domes. They have these like 3 or 4 domes at the front of the ship, and then the bridge at the back, or the tower at the back. And if one of these things gets hit by a Houthi rocket launcher, it will explode with such violence it would burn the skin off someone 5 kilometers away. It will boil the water around it. So good luck jumping overboard. Yeah, you're not coming back from that. You're really not. And we've got these mini, effectively nuclear explosions. Remember when the nitrates store blew up in Lebanon? Yeah, that kind of explosion. That's what you'll be looking at if one of these ships go up. And this is the way we're doing it. And this is the way that RefUK want us to keep doing it. And they're talking about efficiency. And I'm like, make a big fan, stick a plug into one end and a plug into the other, and then, charge your shit from the big fan. I know that they're not a big fan. You know, like Ed Sheeran, I'm not a big fan. But like, Jesus wept. How do people get into people's minds in such a way? I can only imagine that these RefUK voters just didn't pay much attention in school. But never mind. I'll put 2p in sorry, I put dog 4x4. I put £2 in the ... We may need it today into the swear fund. Thank you very much. Dog 4x4. I'm sure I'm already demonetized for swearing too much. It's Elle's birthday. Happy birthday, Elle. Everyone's dropping in to say happy birthday, which is very nice. Good, you're exposing this. Where are the other 41,600 subscribers to the channel? Adrian, I'd love to know. But I like our little gang. You know, I think we're cool. But yeah, I think there's just 41,000 people who thought, I like the cut of this guy's jib for one video. 3,500 videos later, they're like, oh, he's getting a bit long in the tooth, this guy. He keeps saying the same things over and over again. Anyway, so, Darren Grimes reckons that having offshore wind or onshore wind or solar panels or tidal power is an eco-fantasy. And it's like, it's not. It's the reality, and it's happening now. The electric car revolution will not be stopped because everyone who starts having an electric car will never go back. If they don't have to, they won't go back to an internal combustion engine. It's just too much of a headache and it costs too much. It cost me £3 to get from here in Durham to Liverpool in an electric car. £3 in fuel. In electric fuel. Particularly sneery this morning, Graham, says Hugh. Yes, maybe I am. Yeah, civil sneer. So I can't really sneer. Yeah. Look like a Yorkshireman. Oh, my day, it wasn't like this. Oh, I tell you what. Get off my land. Oh no, I went all West Country then. Stop it, Graham. Stay on target. Yeah, climate change, climate work actually saves money. That's all you need to know, you know? And any crisis in special educational needs is caused by Tory austerity. The fact that councils like Liverpool had half of their central funding cut, half of it. And so they had to put up council taxes in some of the most deprived areas of the city in order to cover the basics. They had to cut back on essential services, or what they call non-essential services, like, I don't know, the child counselling services for children who have lost their parents. And then, you know, other councils, the RefUK councils are cancelling diversity and equality roles. And you got to wonder, this is the same bunch that are going, oh, we've got a woman MP, we've got a woman as the mayor of Lincolnshire. And it's like, that sounds like, you know, diversity, equality and inclusion, doesn't it? Sounds like that to me. You're bragging about the women that you have because everyone sees RefUK as a gruesome old man's club. You know, the kind of like frustrated old man's club. It's a lot of old men. A lot of old men vote for RefUK because they're like, I want the future generations to suffer. For some reason. Not all horrible old men vote for RefUK. Some of them vote for the Tories. And before Anne says it, I'm going to say not all boomers voted for RefUK. But a substantial number did, especially the men folk. So they tried to get women on board. And they said, and then they did this video where they went, look at the women that we have with us. They're like men, but women. And it's like, looks like you're going for a bit of diversity there, really. But, you know, the usual diversity for RefUK and the Tories in general is this: if you have anyone from a different, a different ethnicity or a different gender, they usually went to private school. So the MP, Sarah Tooty, or whatever her name is, for Runcorn and Helsby, the MP from Helsby, she went to private school because, of course, she did. Because she did. She went to private school. And then you look at the Tories and all the people, you know, that they put up into these positions of power, like Kemi Badenoch and Rishi Sunak and Kwasi Kwarteng and James Cleverly, you go, oh, wow, look, a bit of diversity. This is good. The part of me is proud that we had a prime minister of Indian descent, even though he was a Tory. Not great, but it's kind of cool. It reflects the diversity of our country up to a point. But then when you realise that he went to Winchester, which is like £30,000 a term, you realise that, it's not as diverse as you might think. Because, like I say, when we say them and us, I am not dividing us by our gender, our sexual preference, our racial heritage, the languages we speak, the countries we come from, or anything else, or the football teams we support. When I say them and us, it is us versus the multimillionaires. Don't say the rich, because everyone thinks they're rich. You say, oh, tax the rich. Oh, I'm rich. And you're like, no, you're not. Yeah, I am. I've got a personalised number plate on my car. This is why a lot of people are talking now about putting a 2% tax on people's earnings over £10 million. Like, how can you argue against that? The best thing the best argument they've got against it is, all these millionaires are leaving, which they're not. They're not leaving. They're not leaving. They're not leaving. So yeah, they promised care for children. This is Darren Grimes' thing. He wants to care for children while torching the planet that the children will grow up to live in. And then you've got like the total incompetence. Like 2 months, 2.5 months to call a fucking meeting. 2.5 months. Are you kidding me? What? And they're using Musk's Twitter, X, whatever he calls it, and clickbait to amplify their scale, way beyond their size. There's more Green councillors. There's more, there's the same number of Green MPs as there are RefUK MPs, but who gets all the coverage? It's RefUK. They're very good at media manipulation because they have all the money. They can pay for the marketing teams. They can pay for the clever people who do advertising, who know how to manipulate people. Don't forget, one of the big names in the sort of Mad Men era of the 1950s, 60s, Madison Avenue Mad Men, was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. And he used psychoanalysis, like working out what makes people tick, in order to flog cigarettes and to flog cream tarts and cars and barbecues and things. Some of the things that we do that we think are normal are completely manufactured by advertising agencies to sell a product. One of the funniest ones for me is like barbecues. Like, barbecues did not exist before the 1950s. They were invented by a marketing agency in the 1950s because they realized that men didn't cook. Men weren't the chefs in the family. It was usually women who made dinner. So they said, how can we get men to cook? Well, we have to appeal to their lizard brain, to their cavemen sensibility. So what they did was they said, hey, how about we make it so you have a little thing on stilts, right? And we have a fire, a real man fire, and we cook things on the real man fire so they're burnt on the outside and raw in the middle. And everyone gets salmonella or E. coli. Yay! That sounds like a great idea. And it was all invented to get men to cook and to sell burgers and sausages and things. The meat packers of America got together and went, how can we sell more sausages? Fruit juice, having fruit juice and oranges in the morning, completely made up as a thing. It wasn't a thing for many years, and then suddenly the orange growers of California and Florida were like, hey, people are only eating one orange a day. How about we squish them? And then people will eat and put it into concentrate. And then people will not concentrate, but orange juice. And I think people can have that with breakfast, and they can drink it, and then we can sell them 2 oranges a day instead of 1 orange a day because we've got too many oranges. Brilliant. Marketing genius, and now everyone thinks that you've got to do that. I mean, we can talk about Valentine's Day if you want. We can talk about Father's Day, completely made up. There was a Mothering Sunday in Christian tradition. There was no Fathering Sunday. It's completely made up to sell cards by Hallmark. The fact that they managed to flog cigarettes so long to people who knew it was going to give them cancer and kill them. And this is back in the day before cancer treatment was particularly good. It is a lot better now. But like lung cancer, I don't know if this is still the case, but lung cancer in the 1990s had a 90% fatality rate. If you got lung cancer, it was essentially a death sentence. It was putting a gun with 9 bullets, a 10-chambered gun with 9 bullets to your head and pressing the trigger. And yet people still smoked because the advertising gurus know how to get into people's heads, and they know how to get people to do things that are against their better interests, like barbecues, which are a nonsense. But we decided that was a thing that we need to do in summer. And Australia went for it, full-chested. Oh yeah, barbecue. Yeah. That's what it means to be Australian. You have a barbecue and a beer. Because they don't have barbecues and beer in the UK or US or Canada or South Africa or any other country in the world. It just doesn't happen. When I was a kid, a glass of orange was offered as a course instead of soup on a set menu. That sounds about right. Graham is right about the breakfast scam. Yeah, we just take this as normal. It was invented by ad men. Just like... It's kind of, but now they've moved into politics so much more than ever before. And when you look at this started a long time ago. The advert with the line of people queuing up, and it was said Labour isn't working, queuing up for the Dole office, which helped get Thatcher in 1979. I think it came out in 1979. That was Saatchi and Saatchi. The Saatchi guy who held Nigella Lawson's by the throat, grabbed her by the throat in a public place. Do you remember that? The wife beater, Saatchi. You remember that happened? Yeah, him. Yeah, he's a massive Tory, of course. I think he's on my list. I think he's privately educated. He looks like the type. He seems like the type. And and then that same sort of image of the people snaking away, that was used by RefUK, or when it was the Brexit Party, when it was UKIP, it's always the Farage machine, whatever the Farage machine is, whatever host the tapeworm that is Nigel Farage is choosing to live inside. And they put up a poster with a queue of people saying Britain's full or something, and they cropped out the white people from the actual picture because they're a bunch of racists, and that's what they do. And he unveiled that on the day that Joe Cox was murdered. Young mother of 2, stabbed and shot by a guy screaming "Britain first." So filled with lead in his head and lies, that he did this horrific crime. And I have no doubt that if he was, wasn't under arrest at the time, he would have voted for Brexit. Because this is the Brexit shitters. That's what they all are. Whether they call themselves UKIP or Brexit or the Farage Party, whatever it is. RefUK. They are the Farage Party. So the current Farage Party is doing all this shit. And I'm gutted because it just reminds me of, reminiscent. It's the same as Trump doing his number on January the 6th. That should have been the end of it. 1,500 people arrested. Do you imagine how many people were surging into the Parliament building of America? Imagine that happened here. Farage sends at least 1,500 of his goons to go and storm our Parliament building. And not only does he not go to jail for that, he is promoted to Prime Minister. Off the back of it. Like, what the fuck? It's exactly what happened with Hitler. He burnt down the Reichstag, or his goons did, in Germany, and he ended up being the fucking Chancellor. And then the Führer. Scott said, barbecue is personal to me. Everything I do, from the shop to the washing up, when I could. Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. I like a barbecue. I'm just shit at it, and so I'm bitter. You know, because I've got colour blindness. I can't tell. It's red brown sort of colour blindness. I can't tell if something is cooked or not. It looks the same to me, whether it's cooked or not, unless it's burnt. And I'm not Donald Trump, so I wouldn't burn something and then eat it and put tomato ketchup on it and eat it because I'm not an animal. But yeah, I have to have someone with me when I'm doing a barbecue to go, yes, that's cooked. So I'm fucking useless at it. I much prefer to put things into the oven for the allocated amount of time at the allocated temperature and know that when we watch beeps, and we won't watch anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, when my phone beeps and says, "Hey Graham, take that stuff out the oven," I can go, "Okay, it's cooked." Okay, I know with a roast chicken, if the juices run clear, it is cooked. Okay, so at least I know that. Why have the BBC invited Farage onto Question Time 35 plus times in the last year? Says Fire Channel. I don't think that's the last year, but they have invited him on a disproportionate amount of times. When he was an MEP, they invited him or other representatives of UKIP onto Question Time so many times. They didn't invite one member of the Lib Dems or one member of the Greens. I think they had maybe 2 Labour MEPs on throughout the years, but mostly it was MEPs who didn't think that MEPs should exist. To give the other side of things. Yeah. Get a temperature probe. Get a temperature probe? Yes. Yeah, but I don't really understand that either. I don't know what temperature different things are supposed to be. And I can't. Can you be fucked looking it up online? Because I can't. Because you type something in online, how hot should a burger be? And you get a whole page full of bloody AI slop. Then you get a load of videos where you click on it and it's someone, and you're like trying to listen to, because you're outside, aren't you? Trying to listen to your phone, going, okay, what? And then you press something on your phone and it goes off because it's YouTube and it won't let you have picture in picture. So you gotta have it on your screen, and you're like, okay, what are they saying? And they're telling you the life story before they actually tell you what temperature it should be, when you just want the fucking answer of what temperature it should fucking be. It's easier to just say to someone, excuse me, are you colourblind? No. Okay, can you just come here and tell me if that's pink or if it's brown? It's pink. Okay, well, I'll cook it for a bit longer then. Still a pain in the arse though, isn't it? Where is it? Yes, I can be fucked to look it up. In the end, you can learn the temps. No, Joanna. No, I'm not doing it. I can't be arsed. I've got other things that are more important to keep in my brain, like the name of the new capital of Bougainville, other than the temperatures of different meats on a barbecue that I'm going to do once or twice a year. I have no interest in trying to remember that. I've got no interest in trying to remember a lot of stuff, but the temperature that meat should be at for the one barbecue that I do every several months. No, I'm sorry, Joanna. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible student. I know that you're very disappointed now. You're thinking, Graham, you're terrible. F minus for Graham, but there's so much going on in the world right now. I'm trying to keep it all in my head, and I might just explode. There was a great sketch by Alexis Sale many moons ago about how if you learn a new bit of information, an old bit of information falls out your head, and someone tells him some like random fact, like, did you know that Ethiopia used to be called Abyssinia? And he goes, oh, that's an interesting fact, and then he forgets how to walk. Lee Corn, I'm veggie and don't trust myself not to give the family food poisoning when cooking meat. So I always get the wife or son to check it's cooked enough. I probably overcooked stuff just to be safe. Well, yeah. As a cook, rule of thumb, if the internal temperature is above 82 degrees C, 82 degrees C, you are good to go. Yeah, okay, cool. Do you want me to write? Would you like it if I write it down? There you go. I'll write it down. I've got a silver Sharpie here. I'll write down 82 degrees on my massive pad of notes, which is this, my massive pad of notes. And maybe in the future, when I'm halfway through a barbecue, I'll think, I should go and check what the correct temperature is. And I'll run back up here, I'll flick through all my notes, and I'll find that little bit of silver marker pen in my book, 82 degrees. Can we talk about RefUK now? I'm fed up with talking about barbecues. Right, so Incompetent, dangerous, bankrolled by shady bastards. That is the story of the RefUK's. And we're going to get to see them live in action in just over 10 minutes time. I'm sure they're going to faff around for a while before they get into their action mode. So before we delve into the meeting, I don't know how long the meeting's going to go on. And we do have Prime Minister's questions at 12 o'clock today. And we've got the rabbit hole with me and Rachel later on today. So there's going to be a lot of me if you want. If you don't want that, then you know. But I'm gonna learn some stuff now. I promise I remember this. Okay, here's some newspapers. We owed these Afghans loyalty, but betrayed them again. Yes, we did. We left a load of them there after telling the Taliban who they were, telling the Taliban who their families were. BBC's Kitchen Nightmare. I like what you've done there. That's funny because, you know, this guy, he did a show about cooking. So it's a kitchen nightmare because that was the name of a show. Host John Torode, is that how you pronounce it? Torode or Torodi? Out for highly offensive racist term. What a gobshite. So there you go. A gobshite being a gobshite. Ciao, how to dress like an Italian. Why? Okay. If you're not Italian, why would you dress like an Italian? I don't really know. John Torode, there, sacked from MasterChef, revealed cover-up after leak risked lives of 100,000 Afghans. MOD blunder triggered government super injunction. £7 billion set aside as 24,000 sent to UK over Taliban kill list, which we gave them. There you go, have a kill list. The British military is responsible for a data leak that put up to 100,000 Afghans at risk of death, and successive governments here have spent years fighting to keep it secret using unprecedented super injunction, which was lifted yesterday. What a mad story. What an absolutely mad story. The MPs talking about this are just like absolutely incensed, and they just can't believe that it's actually happened, like that this has been allowed to happen. Apparently, John Healey, the defence secretary, knew this, but nobody else pretty much did. And he had to keep it under his hat because of a court injunction. And the worry that it would make a bad situation worse if they did talk about it. Daily Express here. Gap yards. Two men who went on a moronic mission to cut down sycamore tree in a deliberate professional way get their comeuppance by being handed prison sentences of 4 years and 3 months. I disagree. I don't think and we've discussed this before on the show, I don't think they should have been given prison sentences. I think they should have been made to plant trees every day for the rest of their miserable, godforsaken lives. I mean, one of them's only young. He's probably got another 60 years in him at least. Imagine that. Every day he's got to plant trees. He's got a quota every single day. Rain, hail or shine, every day he has to plant trees. That's it. One man tree planting, or two men tree planting bonanza. That's what I want to see, and I think you should. We should all. That would be an appropriate punishment for the shit that these motherfuckers did. Maybe some good can come of this. Maybe it will reframe our relationship with Britain's forests. I was reading up a BBC News report. I did a bit of digging yesterday. The average of coverage of most EU nations is something like over 40%. Forest cover in Norway and in Sweden, Finland. You're talking about, it goes up to 60-70% of the country is forested. Here, it's as low as 13.3% coverage by forests. We need to plant some trees, my friends. We need to plant lots of trees. Because you know what? Trees also give us shade. As anyone who's been to Glastonbury on a very, very hot and sunny year will tell you, shade is amazing. Just being able to sit in the shade of a tree is one of the best things you can do on a very sunny day. Not if there's a thunderstorm. Now, if there's a thunderstorm, get away from trees. Get as far away from trees as you can, because certain trees fucking explode when they're hit by lightning. Because the sap superheats and makes the trees literally explode. Just saying. This is something that happened to a tree on my island while I was in the house, just a few meters away from the exploding tree. And it was pretty fucking terrifying, I had to say. I put earplugs in because the storm was that close. You know when you can count elephants? You go, well, Mississippi's 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi, and then you hear the crack, crack, boom, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's 3 miles away, right? Rule of thumb. It was flashbang. There was no delay. It was flashbang. And when I say bang, it sounded like a fucking bomb going off. And I've been near a lightning bolt 3 times in my life. Once on my island, once in Sumatra. I was in a place called Butatinggi in Sumatra. Giant spiders. And fucking hell. Turn to that bloke from the Fast Show there. Oh, giant spiders. Butatinggi special. And the third time was when I was in Bocas del Toro in Panama. And I was in a pub, and literally there's a tree across the way in Simon Bolivar Park, and it got I mean, this is a big old tropical tree, probably hundreds and hundreds of years old, got hit by a bolt of lightning, and an entire branch, which was the thickness of a trunk of a normal tree, just like fucking flying off it. There was bits of wood everywhere. It was crazy. Tree didn't die though. Tree kept going. Tree got struck by lightning. She was like, nah, no big deal, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know how I got onto that, but there you go. Let's talk about these planes. Unmarked plane with 259 Afghans on board lands at Stansted on March the 26th, 2024. After 2-year battle to lift government super injunction, the Mail? I'm pretty sure this is where they go. This is where newspapers go, hey, we've got an exclusive. And you're like, have you really though? Have you really got an exclusive? Because it's on the front cover of all the other newspapers. Don't think it's an exclusive. You know this is serious though, because there's no pictures of royals. There's no picture of the king or anyone from the royal family. What the hell? Maybe they're feeling ill. I don't know. Paula, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. A 1960s Tottenham player got killed by doing exactly that while playing golf. What's sheltering under a tree? Yeah, stay away from trees. They can explode. Why aren't we taught this in school? You know, like survival skills. There's a great book called The Worst Case Scenario Handbook. I traveled around the world with that in 2002, and it says what to do if you're in like a plane crash or a train crash or a coach crash. It's like, I need to know what, okay, we're crashing. What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? Where am I going to maximize my chance of surviving? And whenever I fly, I always try and get as close to the emergency exit as possible. Not if I have to pay extra for it though. I just try and get the row behind the emergency exit. I always, if I'm a few rows back, I always do count the number of rows before the emergency exit so I can find my way to the emergency exit in the dark. And this might be a little bit grim, but me and my previous girlfriend, we flew a lot because she was from Australia, and we had a deal. We had a deal that, like, if we were ever in a crash, we would get the fuck out of our own volition, and we wouldn't go back for either of us. We just we had to get out ourselves, just because. Yeah, that's what was suggested in the worst case scenario handbook. Just get the fuck off the fucking plane. Anyway, so as quickly as possible, because most people survived the crash. They survived the crash, but they don't get out in time. Ministers still won't come clean on secret Afghan airlifts. What? Really? After all that was announced last night, I think, okay, I think the lady doth protest too much. I think the Mealy doth protest too much. And then we've got Gina Miller, who I love. She's fucking fantastic, but she has a voice, so privately educated, of course. Not that I'm going to hold that against her. I think she's great. Our country is at a particularly traumatic time in history. Yes, Gina, it is. Why is it a traumatic time in history? Because all the privileged private school people have taken over and are running the country to their designs, to destroy everything that everybody who didn't go to a private school, went to a state school, and 93% of us know and love. So yes, it is pretty grim at the moment, but some of us are fighting the good fight. We've got 3 minutes until we head over to see what's happening at the county council meeting, but until then, we'll crack on with this. We've got thousands of Afghans relocated to UK in secret scheme after data leak. Man jailed for felling Sycamore Gap tree. John Trevode to leave MasterChef. Got all this, and then we've got Reeves, red tape on boot on neck of business. Rachel Reeves last night claimed that rules and red tape were acting as a boot on neck of businesses, and this choking off innovation across the UK without bold reforms is an idea. Why don't we rejoin the EU? There you go. Get rid of all the red tape. Checkmate. It's the return of Gingham. Gingham style. And then we've got the Telegraph, £7 billion Afghan migrant cover-up. Imagine making a mistake that costs the taxpayer £7 million. Billion pounds. Like, I don't know, leaving the EU, which cost us 39 billion straight off the bat. And then it's cost our economy 100 billion a year, every year since we left. Yeah, here's Johnny Mercer. Finally, the ineptitude I saw firsthand has been exposed. You were in government. You were in government when this happened, dickhead. They were your incompetence that did this. Piss off, Johnny Minge. Right. iPaper. UK offers asylum to 24,000 Afghans after email blunder and cover-up costs. Email blunder. That's an expensive email, my friends. That's an expensive email. Imagine if you or I did something as mad as that. It would be a bit of a nightmare for us. And then sackings don't get tougher than this. Tory breaks silence over getting BBC boot. Well, don't be a racist. Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't you just not be a racist? The Metro here, the felling of the Sycamore Gap trees was senseless bravado. What a pair of twats. Bet they voted for reform. Bet they're Brexit voters. I guarantee it. I don't know if the younger one was old enough to vote for Brexit, but he would have done. He's got a Brexit face. 850 million Afghan airlift cover-up. Can you make up your mind how much it costs? Some papers are saying 7 billion, some are saying 2 billion, and this is saying 850 million. It's a lot. It's a lot. UK secretly relocated Afghans after data leak put them in peril of the Taliban. Supergag slapped on media. Soldiers' email put 100,000 at risk. And costs initially put at 7 billion. Far right backlash feared. Trump urged Zelensky to strike into Russia and asked if Moscow could be hit, and then sort of backtracked on it because, Trump always chickens out. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I don't know. Don't vote for Trump. Don't vote for the RefUK's because they are the people not to trust. Do up. Okay, so we've got Gareth T in here with a super chat, which I'll just come to in a Momo. Just give me 1 second to sort this shit out. Sorry. Okay. So we're going to go over to the council meeting. This is the county council meeting. It is streaming now. And then I'm going to just do my little thing, super chat. There you go. Woo! See that? Production. Like a fucking professional. So we're sitting here watching the county council. Nothing's happening on the county council. Can you make something watch? There's 40 people watching it on the county council website. But there's all of us watching it here. That's kind of cool. We're ratioing the county council meeting. So it says 10 a.m. It hasn't quite started yet. I'm going to leave that on and just make sure that I haven't muted the site. Oh, I have. So I'm going to leave that to run and run. Gareth, hang on. Whoa, okay. I wasn't on the live broadcast, but I am now, but it still hasn't started. Gareth T. Graham, the military didn't cause the leak. The fault lies with the MOD civil service, a totally different body. Rant over. Morning. I don't think I said it was the military. I think the politicians said it was the military. Why am I getting a phone call from a private number? You're not allowed to phone me. I'm going live. Go away. Just red button them. Hope it wasn't important. As I said on Geoscope, I'm now firmly of the opinion that Reeves is a Tory Chancellor in Labour colours. She's even spouting the lie of trickle-down economics. Yes, trickle-down. Makes me think of piss. Reeves, red boot. Nick, red boot. Red boot is tape on the neck of British bit. Sorry, I read that wrong, Nick. Sorry, I'll try and read it in a normal tone of voice. Hang on. Red tape is a boot on the neck of British business. Also, Reeves supports red lines that keep the UK out of the single market. Yeah, but there were political reasons for that, not economic reasons, aren't there? This is the big issue. The big issue that the Labour people face is they are in charge at the moment, and unfortunately, Brexit still is a divisive issue. And I know that we want to say, but everyone thinks it's wrong now. And, you're right to some degree that more people think that it was the wrong thing to do than used to. But don't forget, it's only about 56% of the population when polled think that Brexit was a bad idea. And I distinctly remember in the weeks leading up to the Brexit referendum, the polls were showing that 56% of people were going to vote to stay in the EU. So if we had another referendum now, considering how well RefUK are doing and how much media coverage Farage is getting every time he burps, farts, or whistles. I just feel like maybe they shouldn't. I'm getting a bit annoyed now because we are 3 minutes in and it still hasn't started. The meeting still hasn't started. So it's to start at 10 o'clock. If I'm 3 minutes late, I get all kinds of shit off people in the comments. Oh, Graham, where's Graham? I'm like, well, I'm trying to obviously sort some stuff out behind the scenes. I got to say as well, when you listen to LBC, they don't start at 10 o'clock on the knocker. They've got adverts and stuff. I don't get adverts. When I did my show yesterday, 2.5 hours, right? No adverts, no breaks, no going off to go to the toilet or to get another cup of tea or anything like that. Just 2.5 hours straight. Who does that? Who does that? Me. That's who does that. You spoiled you well. I'm joking. People are like, right, unsubscribed. Graham said I'm spoiled. Fuck off. Single market equals higher growth, more tax revenue, lower inflation. Yes, Nick. That's what pays for the NHS, schools, housing, and domestic policies. Party politics is a distraction. No, it's not party politics, Nick. It's politics. It's like we live in a democracy, and unfortunately, vast swathes of this country still think that Brexit's a great idea. And they love Brexit more than their firstborn. And until those people either change their minds, which people don't do, or they're out of the equation, let's just say, if you know what I mean. Timmy Wallace there. These are the wrong trousers. It's not going to happen. You're making an economic argument, and it's a sound economic argument, and I absolutely agree with you. But the political argument isn't there at the moment. Because so many people love Brexit, they still do, even though it's made a pint of lager £6.50, £6.80, £6.80 for a pint of lager. Inflation's gone up again. There's a weird headline in the news today. It was like, it's gone up to 2.7% or whatever it was. And it was predicted to go up to 2.8% and then go down again. And it's like, so it's going the way it predicted. Yeah, but it was a little higher than it was predicted. I'm like, but it was 2.8% that you predicted and it's 2.7%. Yeah. But that wasn't supposed to happen till July. I'm like, it is July. I don't really... I don't... It's like having that conversation when we were doing stateside on Monday, and I was like, how can his majority be smaller than it was in 2016 when he got more votes than the other? Okay. Fewer people voted for him. Yeah, I get that. But like, democracy doesn't work that way. As long as you've got a quorum, it's majority rules, and he got more. And in the first past the post system, which they have in America, whoever gets the most votes wins. And he got the most votes, unfortunately, in the popular vote and in the electoral colleges. Probably because he cheated, but no, that's another story, isn't it? Anyway, I like you because being a bit late, because I won't miss much when I'm late. Oh, thank you. I'm glad someone likes me being late. Trickle-down economics was the greatest and most cynical contrick of the Reagan-Thatcher years. Yeah, absolute. Could not agree more. If it's if it was possible. I mean, we're now 6 minutes past 10. What time does it say on the foot? 6 minutes past 10. They're not even street. I mean, we could watch them turn up, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I've got to say, at least Prime Minister's Questions normally starts pretty much 12 o'clock on the knocker. I'm usually late for Prime Minister's Questions. But yeah, none of this faffing around. Others splitting rest, our government, unless PR, our coalition, even with PR, non-E parties, impulse summary. I'm sorry, agent, I can't do cryptic crosswords this early in the morning. Ian says, a pint of lager has gone up because it's not good for you. There are no benefits to lager, and it's weak as piss, says Ian. That's a bit harsh. Some people like lager, or Euro fizz, as my dad used to call it. Yuri's in the house. Hello, Yuri. Hello, Yuri. Good morning, Politics Social. Good morning, Yuri. How you doing? Chrissy says, when I was at secondary school, even in the summer months, we used to have to wear our ties and blazers and could only get drinks during lunchtime. Yep, great time. Everyone was all dehydrated. All the ADHD kids were just, whipped or beaten senseless by an adult. Sound. Sound? We had sound. Oh, God. We had sound, and then we had a bit of vision. Oh, it's back. Here we go. Hello, morons. Hello,
Welcome
morons.
to the County Council meeting taking place on Wednesday, 16th of July 2025. This meeting
very quiet.
is being held, it's a live broadcast on our own YouTube channel.
Can we make it louder?
Can I extend a warm welcome to the members of the public attending and to those viewing online.
Dickhead.
For those in attendance, you are very welcome to attend.
That's terrible
and
framing.
observe proceedings. However, I request politely that you do not disrupt the meeting. Could I ask everyone in the chamber to switch off or make silent their mobile phones?
They're overexposed. Look at the shiny-faced mook over here. Darren Grimes. Grimy Grimes. I want to make a motion to make it illegal to talk about green issues.
Of business on the agenda, it is with great sadness to formally report the death of the former Durham County Councillor, Jan Meesaw. Jan served as a County Councillor for Peterlee West on the County Council from 2013 to 2017. So can I ask you all to stand for a moment's silence?
Okay, while they're standing for a moment's silence, I'm going to have a look at the chat here. White House, love the art in the back. Love the art in the backdrop, says Scott. It's reform. The later they are, the less of the 20 minutes they have to do, says Acro Dave. I don't know how long this is going to go on for. We will see. We will definitely see. What's this all about? This is Durham County Council, which has been taken over by RefUK's, and this is the first full council meeting they have had since gaining office 2.5 months ago.
Right, to business.
Oh, finally, to business. It only took you
Item
2.5
one,
months.
The minutes. I have a mover, the councillor husband, and a seconder, Councillor Grimes, to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 21st of May 2025.
And your husband? Last business went bump, owing £1 million.
Are the minutes agreed?
£1 million.
Secondly, item 2, declarations of interest. Does any member wish to declare an interest in relation to any item of business on the agenda?
Yeah, they're all owned by the fossil fuel companies, clearly.
Okay. Well, obviously nobody, right. Before we start, apparently I'm allowed to make some small announcements. In my role as chairman of the County Council, I'm very privileged to visit various functions. And in the last week, I've attended 2 that I really was impressed by and heartened by.
What?
One was the citizenship ceremony at the Story, where we had 63 people who've, for 3 years, had to apply and work through an application system to become citizens of the United Kingdom. These people were brilliant people, articulate, and very proud.
I thought you didn't like foreigners.
Now citizens of the United Kingdom.
I thought you didn't like foreigners.
By the age group of them, from very young people.
You like foreigners now? I'm so confused.
Brilliant experiences to provide.
I'm going to turn my mic down because I realise I'm really loud compared with this. So.
And the second one,
I should be about the same.
These people later today.
Should be about the same now.
I mean, a wonderful group of young people from the corporate parenting unit, who were again are very articulate, very knowledgeable of what they want to do and how they want to achieve it, and if we can, with a little bit of help them on their way up the ladder of success. I'm hoping that they'll make a success of everything they do. They're really excellent young people.
Thanks.
So now
I'm going to try something with the sound now. It might make things worse. But
to Councillor Tory Rooney. Tory is the newly elected member for the Benfield electoral division. Yeah, thank you. I couldn't see you there, sorry. As well. Right, colleagues, I'd just like to remind you, robust debate is part of the democratic process. So I would ask members to respect the views of others and to not point fingers during this debate. I would also remind members that it is not appropriate to shout at other members across the floor during debate.
Piss off.
We have microphones which allow everyone to be heard, so please use them when speaking. Where points of order are raised, once a ruling has been made on advice of the Director of Legal and Democratic Services, it's a bit clippy, the sound, but it will not be revisited.
It's fine.
We then move on to item number 4, which is the Leader's Report. So can I invite the leader of the County Council to present his report? Councillor Husband.
Oh, here we go. All right, dickhead.
And good morning, everyone.
How much have you cost so much?
Is the last
so far?
before the summer recess.
The first.
Able to take some time.
The first and last.
To rest before we begin a cycle of meetings come September.
Okay.
It's been an incredibly busy few months, and there's been a great deal to learn.
Nothing.
Both in the office.
Great deal to learn. You're the fucking leader.
Services the council provides.
How can they put a leader in charge who's never been a councillor?
Residents and finding out what matters to them will always be the driving force.
We've been finding out how to be a councillor.
That's why
never mind the leader.
Cabinet will be asked to give the go-ahead to a major public consultation over a new set of priorities for
the chair's a refucker.
We've set out our ambitions, which focus on delivering efficient and effective services, providing excellent care and support for children, adults, families, ensuring communities are safe and thriving, and supercharging County Durham's economy.
Safe and thriving. They want to take away low traffic neighbourhoods.
Communities while ensuring resources.
They want children to be mown down by cars.
This is the start of a new era, and I'm looking forward to working with you all.
Supercars driven by their millionaire mates. Thank you. This is going to be a council of the millionaires for the millionaires. They've cut the sound. That wasn't me. Are we going to watch the rest of it in silence now?
Do any members have any questions on this report? Councillor Craig Martin.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Craig Martin of North Lodge and Chesley Street. Just want to start and really welcome the fact that you've...
Oh, he's a gammon, isn't he? Look at him.
Set these
priorities
really early on and been very clear about what your administration is going to be about. Just leading on to my question, how will you ensure that your priorities, funding, any budgetary cuts that might come along the way will be shared out equally and fairly across all of the towns across County Durham? And how do you expect us, as the opposition, to measure you against those ambitions, and how we should hold you account?
Oh, sorry, I take that back what I just said, because he's not refuck.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Obviously,
sorry, Councillor Martin.
I
feel bad now.
Directly after this session, which
I just assume they're all refuckers because there's so many of them.
On the county plan and the implementation of a county plan over the next 4 years. To help answer your question, I suggest you vote for our first motion, which will give you a very, very particular focus on the care emergencies that we currently face in County Durham. Anything you do require thereafter, we can always write a formal response in writing for you. Thank you.
Have you got anything else you want to say, Councillor Martin? Any supplementary question? We're very generous.
You're very generous. No, I just want to say thank you very much for the response.
Thank you. I can now call on Councillor Mark Wilkes, please.
Thanks, Chair. It's a really brief one to the leader, Chair. It's been made, I've been made aware this morning that there's been some changes at Durham Bus Station, and you mentioned about wanting to have a safe and thriving communities.
He's a Lib Dem.
There is some concerns that apparently security is being withdrawn at Durham Bus Station, and I wondered if it'd be possible for you to just bear in mind that the reason for that security is because we do have antisocial behaviour issues at the bus station, and perhaps we
all of North Road actually
at some point, because there are concerns from local residents.
It's very close to a Wetherspoons, so you know what you expect.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkes. This has not been a cabinet decision, so obviously we'll pick up at officers to understand the reasoning behind such a decision, and obviously reply in writing. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but
thanks very much.
Oh God, their levels are all over the place. So when someone's answering a question,
has anybody else got any questions?
It's a lot lower than him, so I'm going to have to mess with the levels while we're doing
can I ask the council to note the report, please?
Try and make it not clip too much. Sorry.
We now move on to an important part of the day, questions from the public. 3 questions have been received for today's meeting, and we'll invite the questioners to put their question and then ask the relevant portfolio holder to respond. I will take the questions in the order in which they were received, and there is no provision for a supplementary question, and there is no debate in respect of questions. The first question, which I understand I'll have to read out myself, is from Miss Rochelle Lanier, and it concerns the following. As Reform County Councils for Seam Division have publicly declared they will not attend diversity, equality and inclusion training, including any such British anti-man and anti-woman nonsense. Can the leader of the council explain why certain reform councillors are refusing to attend mandatory equality, diversity and inclusion, and how this refusal may impact on their ability to make legally informed and compliant decisions during committee meetings, particularly when matters concern diversity, equality and inclusion are discussed? It's quite a question. Can I ask the leader of the county council to respond, please, to this question?
Yeah, go on,
Thank you for the question.
Go on, because I hate disabled people.
The training module's been removed, so there's no training. There is no requirement in law for councillors to complete equality, diversity and inclusion training. Councillors have been informed of their responsibilities in relation to the public sector equality duty as part of their member induction sessions, as a member code of conduct and how the council works. Where relevant, decision-making reports consider equality and diversity implications and include equality impact assessments.
They're millionaires. They don't care about inclusion. They don't want equality.
I've asked the monitoring officer to consider what other arrangements can be put in place to assist councillors to discharge the public sector equality duty.
I wish someone would discharge you.
Thanks, Councillor Husband. Thanks for that. Question 2. Can I invite Dr. Brown to ask his question?
Since there's no legal
please?
obligation to do equality workshops, he's not doing it. So Labour need to make it a law.
There's the chair of the East Durham Community Standing Together campaign, which stands against the expansion of HMOs across the East Durham communities. And my question
is houses
the
of
new
multiple
council
occupancy.
has had time to reflect and take stock of some of the key priorities moving forward. So are all members in a position to commit to a policy that ensures that HMOs developments across the county will be subject to planning control via an article?
Okay, cool, because it's not like we have any problem at the moment with
Can
housing.
I invite Councillor Lindsay Fox, Cabinet Portfolio for Economy and Partnerships, to respond, please?
God, here we go.
Thank you, Chair. So the new council has had time to reflect and take stock of some of the key priorities
Any
moving
relation
forward.
to Lawrence Fox?
So members are in a position to start to respond. So thank you for your question. Although the council recognises that houses in multiple occupation can provide more affordable forms of accommodation.
You're not
for a wide
dreaming
range
her
of
mouth
groups,
is out of sync
it is
with the
also
sound.
aware of the issues that can arise as a result of over-concentration of HMOs within an area.
Oh, okay.
We acknowledge how worrying it can be for members of the community to find new HMOs due to safety fears regarding potential occupants. This can be because of noise, the general appearance of properties, refuse management and parking issues as well. It can also lead to a loss of family housing and impacts on community cohesion due to the presence of a more transient population.
This is a student
Therefore, the
town.
council will be
People
proposing
who are in
an Article
HMOs
4
generally
direction
students.
to cover the
Go
whole
on.
of the County Durham, excluding those areas where one is already in place, at a Cabinet meeting on the 21st of July 2025. This will remove permitted development rights under planning legislation for changes of use from dwelling houses to small, between 3 and 6 resident HMOs.
Okay.
The Article 4 must be subject to a consultation period.
So now you've got to ask
not less
these
than 21
fuckers
days,
if you
and
want to convert your
notification
house
must be
that
given
you
to the
own
Secretary of State.
into
However, the
flats
Council
for students.
is confident that Article 4 is justified and will help address the increasing number of HMOs seen in County Durham in recent years.
This is house owners fucking over renters.
Thanks very much, Councillor Fox.
Bastards. Billionaire bastards.
We have now question 3, which can I invite Mr. Anderson to ask his question, please?
Oh, God. It's not Lee Anderson, is it?
Chair.
No, it's not.
What will the council do to revitalise the nighttime economy throughout the county?
Again, can I invite Councillor Lindsay Fox, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Economy and Partnerships, to respond, please?
Thank you, Chair. The nighttime economy is an important part of County Durham's wider economic ambitions, and it plays a key role in supporting local jobs and contributing to the visitor economy that sustains nearly 14,000 roles across the county, while helping to enhance the cultural vibrancy of our towns and communities. Throughout our attractions and events, it also supports tourism and the wider regeneration of our town centres. However, we recognise that this sector faces challenges which include variable levels of evening footfall in some areas and public perceptions around the quality and variety of the nighttime offer. To address these issues, the Council is taking several steps to revitalise the nighttime economy, such as supporting local businesses, delivering inclusive events, improving public spaces, working in partnership and supporting the licensed trade by working with legitimate businesses to promote and maintain high standards. Furthermore, as we roll out our strategic place plans across the county, we will develop tailored solutions for each area, which include measures such as activating underused public spaces for evening events and cultural programming. It also includes expanding accommodation and hospitality to support overnight stays and increase visitor spend, and encouraging extended opening hours for retail and cultural venues to boost evening activity. Through these actions, we will aim to create a thriving, inclusive and sustainable nighttime economy that benefits residents, businesses and visitors alike.
How about you have some night buses?
Thank you, Chair.
How about you put on some night buses on Friday, Saturday night?
Thanks very much, Councillor Fox. Appreciate that. So that concludes the public questions for today's meeting. Thank you to those people who submitted questions and for those attending the meeting.
Oh my God.
The questions and responses will be posted on the Council website following this meeting, and each questioner will also receive a written response following this meeting.
Each questioner will receive a Jim will fix
We'll
it
then
badge.
move on to item number 6, petitions.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, there are no petitions for consideration. Item number 7 is the report from Cabinet. Can I ask the Leader of the County Council to present the report?
Chair, can you table the report as written, please?
And ask the Council to note it. Thanks very much. Item 8, Corporate Parenting Panel Annual Report 2024-2025. Oh. And may I extend a really warm welcome to Courtney Moore and Louis Archdeacon for this meeting, and ask them, along with the Head of Children's Social Care, to present their Corporate Parenting Panel Annual Report for 2024-2025.
Early morning book burning, says Akvo Dave. Yeah. Brett Wall, DEI in the Workplace. The Equality Act 2010 provides a legal framework for DEI in the workplace. Many organisations also develop their own DEI policies and strategies to further promote inclusion. And plus we don't call it DEI over here, do we? It's EDI. EDI, is it over here? We have a different name for it. So you put it in a different order. What is even happening right now? I wasn't paying attention.
Good morning. My name is Rachel Farnham, Head of Children's Social Care, and I'm thrilled to have Louis and Courtney to present with me today. This is the 8th annual report of the Corporate Parenting Panel and covers the period April 24 to March 25. In terms of background, the Corporate Parenting Panel Terms of Reference forms part of the Durham County Council Constitution, and it comes to Council today for endorsement. It will then go to Overview and Scrutiny Committee for note, and it will be published on the Durham County Council website. It contains really useful information and service updates, and it reminds us of 3 key questions that we all need to ask ourselves as corporate parents. Number 1, if this was my child, would it be good enough for them? Number 2, if I was this child, would it be good enough for me? And number 3, what more can we do? In terms of content, it includes an introduction from the Chair and Vice Chair during the reporting period. It has messages from the Children and Care Council reps. It has an overview of corporate parenting, why children are in our care, where the children are living, as well as the roles and responsibilities of the Corporate Parenting Panel. It gives really good updates from relevant service areas such as adoption, fostering, care leavers, employment, education and training, the virtual school, children with disabilities, health, and including mental health.
This is her full-time job.
There's a big section on the Children and Care Council because that's an area that we're really, really proud of. And the Children and Care Council plays a huge part in the corporate parenting panel. And we have co-opted representatives, who are these two at the minute, who are incredible, sitting on the panel. Now, our Children and Care Council have identified 6 priorities for them to focus on for the next year. So they tell us, number 1, they want to feel safe.
Everyone
number 2,
very breathless up in darkest Durham.
Emotional and physical
I think
well-being.
people are just a bit nervous having to talk.
Number 3, they want to have positive people in their lives. Number 4, they want to be listened to. Number 5, they want to understand things better. And number 6, which is my favourite, is they want to be the best they can. There's a section on protected characteristics because in January 2025 we brought a report to Council where agreement was given to adopt care experience as a protected characteristic. And we've just started the work to make sure that's integrated into our decision making, to demonstrate that Durham cares and the Durham family supports and champions our young people. There's so many achievements in the report, and some of those achievements include being awarded outstanding in our recent ILACS inspection. We've made lots of changes to the way we use language to reflect what young people feel are important. The success of the Education Fund, which has been a huge success. Our entry into care supply packs. The good luck cards we've sent to every child who's had an exam, whether that's SATs or GCSEs or A-levels who are care experienced. And we've also this year had a really successful art exhibition at Bishop Auckland Town Hall. 23 of our young people produced 27 pieces in that exhibition, and it was really special. So I hope you'll appreciate the support we offer, and I hope you'll all use the annual report and what you hear today to champion our young people and consider them in any decisions that you take, as you would consider the impacts on your own children and grandchildren. So I'll have to pass over to the most important people now, which is Courtney and Louis, who are going to say a few words.
Hello, my name is Courtney. I'm 18, I have a job, I live independently and I'm training to be a paramedic. I'm also a care leaver who sits on the corporate parenting panel.
My name is Louis. I've been in foster care for 4 years and I've been part of the Children and Care Council for 2. This is the first time I've spoken to so many people who can make a difference to young people and children's lives, especially children and young people in care across County Durham.
I'd like to echo what Rachel said about protected characteristics. I think this can make young people more confident with what they do in their daily lives, specifically when it comes to being employed. I know when I was trying to find a job, when I took being care experienced out of my CV and out of my interviews, I found I had 6 interviews back to back and I got a job within the same week. Before that, I'd been on a job hunt for 8 months, which is why that was such an important thing for protected characteristics.
This is my first time here to speak. I'm sure it's probably the same for some of you over the last few months. But we're all here for the same reasons, and it's to improve the happiness, well-being and life in general for children and kids in care. I believe that next year we can make this year's corporate parenting report even better by working together. And I'm also going to be making County Durham better for children and kids in care and leaving care. I'm grateful to be working alongside all of you to make the difference. And thank you for allowing me to say these words.
I feel I know who's responsible for my care and the people who are on the corporate parenting panel. This has given me confidence to ask the questions I want and know that I'll be heard, and my opinion will be improving the experience of other young people and children who are in care through no fault of their own. Children and young people in care are often made to feel like they don't belong. When I go to corporate parenting panel, I feel like my voice it matters and it makes a difference.
I did say they were wonderful, and if there's anybody can put Louis in touch with anybody who does plumbing, we'd really appreciate it, because the lad's desperate to be an apprentice plumber. Can I invite the chair of the corporate parenting panel, Councillor Saffron Sims-Bryden, to speak at this point?
Hi, I'm Councillor Sims-Bryden, the elected member for Derwent and Pont Valley, and now I can say I'm very privileged to be the chair of the corporate parenting panel, and thank you for presenting today. I'm here to present the corporate parenting annual report for endorsement. Although I wasn't chair at the time of the report, I think we can all agree, after it's just been presented, that it's such a valuable resource, and the scope of the work undertaken by the services to support young people and care leavers is just absolutely incredible and truly inspiring for all of us. I'd like to take a moment just to thank everyone across the services for the ongoing support and commitment to everything they do every day. The annual report is a great and positive resource, but I want every councillor in this room to please use it not just as a summary of achievements, but to actually recognise the hard work that's been happening every year, and we can only improve. Please share it and advocate for the voices of the future, the young people here today, and those throughout our services and throughout County Durham. As chair of the corporate parenting panel, I'm committed to continuing this momentum, ensuring the best possible experiences and outcomes for all our young people in our services. I present the Corporate Parenting Panel Annual Report 2023 to 2024 for endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Do we have any questions regarding this report?
Privately educated councillor there, young privately educated. She went
Councillor
to
Wilkes.
Dame Allen's girls' school.
Thank you, Chair.
Obviously.
It's not so much a question, although I would like to thank Courtney and Louis and all our young people for what they do and for coming along to meetings and for getting involved. What I simply wanted to say, Chair, was that recently, just before the election, we lost Councillor Mamie Simmons, who was Chair of Corporate Parenting and had done a huge amount for over 2 decades on fostering and working with young people. And I just wanted to say thanks. She's not here, but we need to say thank you to her for what she did. She was amazing in that role. Also, thank you to Michelle Walton, who stepped in and took up the chair's role while Mamie was ill. I think she would have found it absolutely amazing to have discovered, if she had been able to, that we've now got outstanding status as a council. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say, Chair.
I love that they've put someone from a private school.
Thanks, Councillor Wilkes. Even though it wasn't a question, I appreciate the sentiment. Can I now call on Councillor Cathy Hunt, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for the Children and Young Persons Services. Can I?
Thank you, Chair. And firstly, thank you very much, Louis and Courtney. Fantastic job. Very well done indeed. Wouldn't know you hadn't done it before.
Where's this camera from?
I'm Councillor Cathy Hunt, elected member for Wellington and Hunwick Division and Portfolio Holder for Children and Young People Services. I previously sat on the corporate parenting panel and was moved at how powerful and emotional these meetings are. The reports and lived experience stories demonstrate the commitment of listening to our children and young people and continuing to make the changes to improve the outcomes and shape their lives.
Cathy Hunt.
I would like to thank the officers and young people who put in so much work to bring the information to us, and ask everyone here today as corporate parents to continue to champion the children in our care and ask yourselves 3 key questions in the role as an elected member. 1, if this was my child, would it be good enough for them? 2, if I were this child, would it be good enough for me?
Oh,
and 3,
she's affected
what
to,
can we do better?
She's affected to RefUK.
As portfolio holder for Children and Young People Services, I'm committed to making the changes for the children and young people of County Durham. I look forward to receiving the next corporate parent and panel annual report to see what more can be done to support the experienced young people, the care experienced young people. I would also like to put on record my thanks to Martin Stenton for all he has done for the children and young people during this time in Durham. Martin, it's been a pleasure working with you. I don't know if he's here. Martin, it's been a pleasure working with you during this time in Durham.
I'm just trying to find out if she's gone to RefUK.
Director of Children and Young People's Services. Thank you. Your new role is their loss, and our loss and their gain. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Do we have any questions? Any speakers? No. Right. So can I ask the Council to endorse the Corporate Parenting Panel annual report, please? Thank you. Thanks very much again, Courtney and Louis. Best of luck.
Okay, so they've cut the sound there for the applause, I guess, because it's going to peak like crazy. Part of me wants to go into the council chamber and just set up like some good cameras. You know, you can get the automatic ones that follow people around and all that kind of stuff. That's a decent mag system with a decent...
If we can move on to item 9, which is the Treasury Management Final Outrun 2024-2025. And can I ask the Head of Corporate Finance and Commercial Services to present the report?
That's it, I'm making breakfast, says Gallifrey, man. That sounds like a plan.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rob Davisworth. I'm the Head of Corporate Finance. This report is for noting by County Council, and it provides an overview of our Treasury management activity and arrangements for the financial year 24-25, and it's a position statement as at the 31st of March 2025. And it reflects the Council's arrangements for cash flow management and borrowing arrangements which underpin the capital programme of the County Council. This is a key element of the medium-term financial strategy of the Council. It has an impact on our revenue budgets. It also affects how we fund and pay for our very extensive and ambitious capital programme. The report and the Council's Treasury Management position was scrutinised by Audit Committee at its meeting on the 27th of June 2025, and the Chair of the Audit Committee will speak after myself. Just to clarify, the Treasury Management arrangements we have in place are effectively to manage our cash flow arrangements and our borrowing arrangements for the financing of the capital programme. Consideration of this report meets the requirements of our regulators and the government, and the report includes details of our performance on Treasury management arrangements, and we have a series of indicators which are included in the report to show our performance. And these indicators were approved as part of the budget setting process for 24-25 back in February 2024. The table in paragraph 27 provides a summary of our overall Treasury management position. County Council will see that as at the 31st of March 2025, we had a total debt outstanding position of 435 million and cash investments of 74 million. So therefore, our net debt position at the end of March 2025 was 361 million. That compares with our position at the prior year, where our net debt position at the end of March 24 was 165 million pounds lower. We have taken an additional £23 million worth of borrowing during the financial year, but we have run down our cash balances down by around £143 million. And that's a strategy that we've employed to effectively run down our cash balances in lieu of borrowing at a later stage, whilst interest rates remain somewhat high. Therefore, at some point in the next few months, in the next year, we will need to borrow to catch that position up. And we have an under-borrowed position against our underlying need to borrow of around £159 million.
That's why so many reform councillors are quitting. They have no idea how boring it is trying to make society work.
As part of the existing capital programme, that programme is predicated on around £400 million worth of borrowing, which will need to be taken out in the next 3 or 4 years. But we are currently undergoing a very extensive review, working in partnership with the Cabinet of the existing capital programme and the borrowing commitments that underpin that programme. The Council's borrowing activity during the last financial year is set out in sections 30 to 38. New borrowing loans were taken out to the tune of £60 million, and that reflected the need to fund the underlying capital programme and to maintain our liquidity levels. We also undertook some debt refinancing during the year. We hold some private sector loans with Phoenix Bank, which is a subsidiary of Aberdeen Investments. We refinanced about £58 million, and we've generated interest rate savings of £400,000 per annum, which have been reflected in the latest medium-term financial strategy. The interest which we pay on that debt is very reasonable and competitive. On average, it's a rate of 3.31%. In paragraphs 39 to 56, there's an overview of our other external debt and long-term liability arrangements.
I feel like I should just turn this down a little bit. Just going to turn this down. Is anyone going to get really upset if they can't hear what this guy's saying? Because it is remarkably boring. I'm going to let him witter on, and I'm going to have a chat with you in the chat. So if you want to have a chat with me while this guy's talking, just leave a message in the chat and we will talk. Vendetta, she was undercover. It was for the job. Pagan, it's account speak. Aberdeen Investments. Sorry, am I cutting this out? Do people actually want to hear what he's saying here? Because I was falling asleep. But I love that message from Macro Dave. Like, didn't no one realise how boring it is. Michael Warner, I'm off to see you all at Badenoch's weekly embarrassment session at 12, says Michael earlier. Yeah, it is genuinely an embarrassment session. It is particularly galling, like just how bad she. Well, it's not galling. I think it's quite good how bad she is, because if she wasn't so bad, then more people might support the Tories, but. Unfortunately, RefUK have manoeuvred themselves into this position where they're seen as the acceptable face of Tory policies, but they're all Tory policies. It's anti-DEI, anti-EDI, anti-doing anything about climate change, anti-being nice, anti-building communities, anti-doing anything that is going to in any way put obstacles in the path of multimillionaires. Increasing their already vast fortunes. It's all about keeping the little people down. We're the little people, by the way. And, trickle down economics. Bad Enoch. Yes, she is. Of course. I have made the eggs. Well done, Trip, for making eggs. That's very good. Scott says, coriander, that's satanic. Well, each to their own, my friend, each to their own. I think to some people, is it coriander that tastes like soap? There's a few. Oh, what is this? I'm just being handed a fresh new coffee by my glamorous assistant. Thank you. Awesome. Right. Graham, what's the non-politics topic this evening? Asks Al. I'll just check for you, Al, while we're waiting for this guy to finish wittering. That's a bit mean, isn't it? I mean, this is a council official. I don't think this is an elected guy here, but it's not. I don't think we're missing much at the moment. So we have options: disaster films, apocalyptic films, or the best conspiracies. Oh, hang on.
Brown to speak regarding this report.
Chair of the Audit Committee now.
I'd like to thank Rob for the update, and I'm going to reiterate a few of his comments. This is an update on our Treasury management activity in 2024-25, and I'd like to thank him for the information setting out our position as of 31st of March 2025, which we, the Audit Committee, scrutinised on the 27th of June, for which we received some in-depth briefings and training on these technical matters. Now, it's noted across the last financial year, the Council has fully complied with all the requirements of the Treasury Management Policy and Strategy agreed in February 2024. The report sets out details of the work undertaken in year to ensure that we fully comply with International Financial Reporting Standard 16, which comes into force in 2025 for local authorities and which has been fully reflected in the draft statement of accounts that were published on the 27th of June,
and he's
which we'll be considering at the Audit Committee on the 31st of July. If any councillors have any questions about any of this, they are more than welcome to come and speak to me to discuss it. And with that, Chair, I would like to ask the Council to note the report.
Thanks very much, Councillor Brown. So, does anybody have any questions regarding this report? No? So, Can I ask the Council to note this report, please?
No.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much.
Don't forget, these councillors, it's not a full-time job. Part-time
Item
job.
10, the annual report of the Standards Committee
Part-time politicians.
2024-2025. Can I ask the Director of Legal and Democratic Services to present this report, please?
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, members. The report provides an overview of the Standards Committee's activity for the period 24 to 25 and helps demonstrate what the Council has been doing to discharge its statutory duty to promote and maintain high standards of conduct. The report follows a similar format every year and starts with setting out the membership of the committee for the reporting period, as well as the independent persons who've supported the committee for the period. The report sets out the terms of reference for the committee for consideration alongside the work programme for 24-25, which is at Appendix 2.
She's a wee fucker.
Throughout the year, the committee continued to receive reports on standards and governance issues nationally.
I'm not operating the camera.
And the LGA's Debate Not Hate campaign, which resulted in a recommendation that Council adopt a zero
it's the woman there.
to abuse
it's
policy
so small on my screen.
Last year.
I couldn't see that it was her talking.
The committee also reviewed and made recommendations to the Council about the publication of members' home addresses on the Public Register of Interests. The committee has also met informally to consider the government strengthening the standards framework consultation. We await the outcome of that in due course. The report also includes a summary of the Member Code of Conduct complaints received with a comparison to the previous year, and that covers both county councillor and town and parish councils. And the report also includes a breakdown of the time spent and costs incurred in dealing with those complaints. And finally, the report touches on the work programme for the current year, which was approved by the Standards Committee on the 9th of June. Chair, the recommendation is at paragraph 5 for Council to note the report.
Okay. Thanks for that, Helen. So can I now invite the Councillor Catherine Rooney to speak as the former Chair of the Standards Committee for 2024-2025.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Catherine Rooney, Consett North Division. I'm pleased to present the annual report of the Standards Committee for the period 2024 to 2025. The committee's work programme, which is consistent with the terms of reference set out in the report at paragraph 11, is attached at Appendix 2 to the report. The committee has continued to monitor standards and governance issues nationally. Since the Council signed the Local Government Association Debate Not Hate statement in January 2023. The committee has kept up to date with developments in relation to the Debate Not Hate campaign and ensured that the Council's arrangements continue to reflect best practice. I am pleased that the committee was able to support the Council's proactive approach in relation to members' home addresses pending the introduction of legislation which will mean members do not have to publish their home addresses on the Public Register of Interests. The committee also helped shape the Council's response to the Strengthening Standards framework earlier this year. In respect of complaints, members will see from the report that there was a slight increase in number of complaints received in 2024 to 25. In terms of outcomes, the most significant change since last year is the relation to the number of cases which were withdrawn or rejected. None of the complaints received for the period of the report were referred to a hearing panel on the committee. The report also includes a breakdown of the costs to the Council of dealing with Member Code of Conduct matters. I would like to thank the Monitoring Officer and her team for their continued work with the committee in assisting to ensure the high standards are achieved by all local elected members. I would also like to thank the members of the committee and independent persons for their support during the term of the committee. I ask the Council to note the report.
Thanks very much, Councillor. Can I now invite the current Chair of the Standards Committee, Councillor Kate Rowland, to speak?
Thank you, Chair. As the new Chair of the Standards Committee under a new administration, I'm grateful for the work of the previous Standards Committee over the last year. In relation to the work programme and other recommendations set out in Appendix 3, we note the report. However, given that we are a new administration which has had no input into these proposals, we reserve the right to review and potentially amend proposals in the week ahead.
So you're going to scrap them all?
I look forward to working with the new committee and all my colleagues.
Looking forward to doing nothing, Kate
improving the
Rowland.
standards process moving forward.
Jesus.
Thanks very much, Councillor. Do we have any questions regarding this report?
I have a question.
Why
are you such a gang of gobshites?
Oh, sorry, Councillor Shuttleworth.
Yes, Chairman. My device isn't working there. Given that we've had 11 complaints made in 2024 and 17 in 2025 against county councils, the fact we've got 126 since the elections, can I just ask how we're going to deal with all that? Because going forward, there's probably going to be 500.
What? I didn't really understand what the question was.
Do we have anybody to reply to that one?
Chair, I'll take it. The usual team will be applying the procedure in the usual way. Whilst there has been an increase in the number of complaints that have been received, a significant number of those don't engage the Member Code of Conduct, so they are dealt with quite swiftly. But just to note, the report is for the 24-25 period.
Councillor Moist, please.
Well,
thanks, Chair.
John Shuttleworth.
Talking about this report and all.
John, wasn't that John Shuttleworth?
Do the cost of 44,000 and 40,000, is that all of the costs? Is it a true reflection? And is senior management time included in these costs? Because there was an article in the Northern Echo regarding a parish council code of conduct complaint that had costs in excess of 60,000. Perhaps I've got it wrong, or the Northern Echo have it wrong, but is this a true reflection of costs? Are senior officers' time allocated to the code of conduct costs as well? Thank you, Chair.
Chair, the costs are calculated in relation to the legal officer time that's spent in relation to particular complaints. There will be an element of my time or my deputy's time in regard to that, although the vast majority of work is done by less senior officers. And we get involved on a limited basis or on a supervisory basis, or indeed when there are issues that warrant either the monitoring officer or deputy monitoring officer to be involved. The costs don't include time for officers in committee services and admin staff that support the process, because they don't time record in the same way that the legal services do. And with regard to the Rommelkirk costs that were reported in the media, the figure is accurate, but there was a breakdown given between the internal costs and the external legal costs that we incurred. I can't recall the breakdown off the top of my head, but I will provide that to members after the meeting.
Thanks very much, Helen. Councillor Shuttleworth, just regarding your question, in a former life I was always told if you get more complaints it means you're actually doing your job correctly, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
No, that's the opposite. If you're doing your job correctly, you should be getting compliments, not complaints, you dickhead.
When I get a breakdown through there, I'll be firing the bullet where it's aimed at. Thank you.
Absolute
I didn't quite get that, Councillor, but thanks very much for the point.
I didn't quite get it either.
We now have Councillor Sexton.
Thank you, Chair. I wasn't going to ask a question on this, but seeing as Councillor Shuttleworth decided to fire a shot across the bows, I believe I'm like Councillor Moist. I'm struggling to understand the numbers. Why aren't we capturing all the numbers so we're getting a true view? And I hope the new Chair of Standards and the new administration incorporate this moving forward. It is imperative that we understand how much money is being spent on standards. And also in relation to Councillor Shuttleworth's concern over the amount of the numbers of that we're getting, I'd also like to ask, is the threshold appropriate? Example, does almost a year to reach no further action on a smiley face on your personal Facebook account, is that time and length warranted? Is it fair to the administration, the taxpayer, and the person who's actually has that allegation against them? Thank you, Chair.
I'm not in a position to comment on particular examples that I'm not familiar with passage of time and haven't had advance notice of, but it wouldn't be appropriate to comment on specific examples in this meeting in any event. With regard to the process, the process is consistent with the processes that are adopted elsewhere. If the code is engaged, then we need to consider it through the initial assessment process. The vast majority of complaints are dealt with at that initial assessment process, but sometimes things take longer for a variety of reasons. That could be the response times of the subject member, it could be the response times of complainants, it could be the need to speak to an independent person and their availability. Previously, we did have an absence of an independent person due to ill health, and we had a period of time where we didn't have one, so that did build in delays. But I think the process is appropriate. If the code is engaged, we are required to deal with them, and we deal with the vast majority of them under that initial assessment.
Chair, could I do a point of personal expression and a follow-up, please, on that?
What?
I'm sorry, Councillor Sexton, there's a councillor over there wants to speak.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Pete Malloy, Spennymoor Division. Just a bit of clarification on internal costs incurred. Can you tell me, with regards to parish and town councils, are any costs passed on to them for having to do the work?
Definitely sounds like a Scouser.
Thank you.
Hello, Scouts.
Can you knock your microphone off, please? Thank you. No, the County Council, as the principal council, is responsible for dealing with member code of conduct complaints against parish and town councillors. There is no provision for the council to recover its costs of doing so, and that was a representation that the previous standards committee and the council made in response to the strengthening standards in conduct framework, was that actually there should be at least a discretionary power for principal authorities to recharge town and parish councils for the costs incurred in dealing with member code of conduct matters, but that would require legislative change, so we'll wait and see what happens with the consultation process, and once we get the outcome of the consultation, that will be reported to Standards Committee, and any consequent changes to the procedures will need to come through Council for approval.
Thank you.
Councillor Sexton, if you can now make your point, please.
Yeah, just to come back, and thanks, Helen. I'm glad you mentioned passage of time. Maybe that can be taken in consideration, because there are outstanding allegations going on many lengths and period of time. So if officers can't recall, how are others supposed to recall? Thank you.
Can I just remind councillors, when I ask if you've got any questions about the reports, they actually are questions and are not just framed as some sort of statement. So I'd just like to remind you, please.
Okay. Oof. Oh, okay. Mm.
And now, does anybody wish to speak regarding this report?
I want to tell you that you're a knobhead. Can I tell you you're a knobhead?
No?
Yes.
Can I ask the council to note this report then, please? Thanks very much. Item 11, it's an overview and scrutiny annual report 2024-2025. Can I invite Councillor Crute, former chair of the Corporate Overview and Scrutiny Management Board of 2024-2025, to speak on this annual report, please?
Jesus. Well, is this going to go on forever?
I'm pleased to be able to present the full council this morning the Scrutiny annual report for 2024-25.
I want to tell you now, if this goes on till 12 o'clock, we're sacking this off for PMQs, because it's the last PMQs of
have undertaken over the past year, and I'm grateful to the current chair.
Sorry, I realise I should turn that down while I'm talking. We're doing PMQs at 12 o'clock, no matter what, okay?
Annual report. As is good practice, each of the committee's work programmes over the past year were carried out in accordance with the 4 principles of effective scrutiny, and they are to provide a constructive critical friend challenge, primarily to the executive, to amplify the voices and the concerns of members of the public, to improve public services, and to be led by independent-minded people who take responsibility for their role. In other words, scrutiny is strictly non-party political in its approach. As ever, the Scrutiny annual report for this year reflects every one of those 4 principles, and they underpin all the work that they've done. The report in front of members this morning describes just a few of the issues considered by scrutiny over the past year. And while this is a retrospective look at the work of scrutiny, I look forward to playing a role in scrutiny in years to come. Chair, if there's one message I'd like to emphasise today, it's the importance of scrutiny and the impartial role that it plays in any well-run local authority. Central to this is the notion of parity of esteem, which when applied correctly ensures a level playing field for scrutiny members. And we've worked hard over the years at Durham County Council to ensure that the esteem and the support given to the scrutiny function is equal to that afforded to the executive. And we found that this approach leads to much stronger policy development. The executive, of course, will have its priorities, it'll have its manifesto commitments to deliver, but if those policy decisions that to be fit for purpose, they need a strong and effective scrutiny function running alongside it. The scrutiny function committed to the 4 principles I've already outlined will ensure that policy decisions at the end of the process will be better informed, well developed, and open to the public for scrutiny and accountability. So it's vital that all members of the thematic committees and the management board together make every effort to ensure that those principles endure over the course of this administration and remain an integral element of policy development. Chair, I don't intend to go through the report line by line. It's been published for over a week now, and I think members have had sufficient opportunity to read up on it. So I would ask members this morning to accept the annual scrutiny report for 2024-25 as detailed in the agenda item in front of us. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much for all your hard work, Councillor Croot. Can I invite Councillor Cook, current Chair of the Corporate Overview and Scrutiny Management Board, to speak, please?
That's all right, I've got it. Thank you, Chair. Members, my thanks firstly to the previous Chair for their reflections on last year's work. Scrutiny is the cornerstone of our democratic responsibility. As Chair, I want our scrutiny work to be purposeful, evidence-based and focused on the aspirations of those we represent. The 2025-26 work programme provides a framework to guide that mission. We should thank our overview and scrutiny officers for their work in putting them together for us. The work programme is a living document. It grows stronger with each member's input and reflects our shared commitment to accountability. In addition, we have the ambition and opportunity to deliver improvements to strengthen our scrutiny function. The Council sets its key performance objectives to align with the County Durham Plan, which is currently in revision. This is an opportunity for scrutiny to ensure that the County Council's revised key performance objectives are composed in accordance with the SMART framework of specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time-bound, and that the Council provides overview and scrutiny, the details on the level setting, and from that point forward, key performance objectives become the anchor of every report submitted to scrutiny. Likewise, we need documentation on the resources committed and the budgets allocated. Interim and quarterly reports need to convey the key performance indicators and metrics accumulated so that scrutiny can ascertain if the Council is on track to reach its targets. Benchmarking against local and national peers is fine for comparisons, but lacks the data the scrutiny committees really need to assess performance. Local and national figures can fluctuate as easily as ours can and don't tell us the real story of how we are performing. We also aspire to have minutes circulated following meetings in 5 days or less, down from the 45 days presently, so that action points can be worked on sooner with greater time to deliver outcomes. We intend to build in sufficient flexibility to ensure that we can respond to reports sooner and that reports are provided in a timely fashion. Only with this level of clarity can we properly evaluate performance, ensure value for money, and support progress where needed. These are the identified priorities for overview and scrutiny functions. To those here who are in scrutiny roles and the members in general, I urge you to bring your insight, your challenge and your commitment Let's shape the programme together and with the people we serve at the heart of every decision. Chair, Council, I ask for your support for this programme of work for the next year and your support in helping us strengthen the overview and scrutiny function. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cook.
Go away, Cook.
Are there any questions on this report, please?
Go away, you Cook.
Does any member wish to speak on this report?
No, it's boring and we weren't even listening.
Councillor Lyons.
Thank you, Chair. Chris Lyons, Sedgefield
Oh no,
Division.
that's not me.
Thank you
that's
to
their sounds.
Councillor Crute and
That's their
Councillor Cook
sounds.
for their contributions. I support everything that Councillor Crute said, and also there were some encouraging words from Councillor Cook.
Okay, Crook and Cook. Oh,
In
God,
terms
that's
of the last
confusing.
year of scrutiny, I was Vice Chair. The debate was sometimes robust, but it was always undertaken with civility.
It was always entertaining.
And crucially, scrutiny really did hold the executive to account, making substantive contributions that Cabinet listened to and acted upon. I note that Councillor Crute's tenure as Chair lasted 2 years during which the Chair of Scrutiny was from the main opposition party. And for the second of those years, that was as a result of a cross-chamber support at the annual meeting, which was an acknowledgement that it worked. That approach reflects recognised best practice for scrutiny nationally, and indeed in the North East Combined Authority, of which this council is a part. Therefore, I find it very disappointing that this approach has not been sustained under the new administration. Effectively, this administration is now marking its own homework, and the role of scrutiny in holding this council to account will be weakened as a result of that.
Absolutely.
And I find that very worrying and disappointing development. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Right, can I ask the Council to receive this annual report, please? Thank you. Item 12 is the statement of the returning officer, and this item is purely for information only and to note. Can we note it, please? Thank you.
Chair, sorry, could I just... sorry, Chair, just one point. Unless I'm not aware of another reform resignation, it does say Horden by-election on the paper rather than Benfieldside by-election at the top. And I don't think the Horden councillors who I think are here today are resigning anytime soon, unless they want to tell us otherwise.
Thank you. It's an error. We will correct that. Thank you.
Dickheads.
It's always nice to have somebody smart in the audience, isn't it? Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Someone smart in the audience, you sarky bastard. God. Sarcasm, oh, that's very
Can I ask the Director of Legal and Democratic... Oh, sorry.
Item 13. God, he's so rubbish at this. This happened in the last one where the woman next to him had to
So
tell
can
him
I
what
ask
to
the
do.
Director of Legal and Democratic Services to outline the procedure, please?
He's got his thing on
Thank
his,
you, Chair.
he's got the agenda on
So
a
the
piece of
usual
paper.
rules of debate
Tick it off as
apply.
you go.
So movers of motions have 5 minutes to speak, and seconders and other speakers have 3 minutes. Members may only speak once on a motion, other than the mover, who has a 3-minute right of reply. If an amendment is moved and seconded, the debate is on the amendment. Only one amendment may be moved and discussed at any one time, and no further amendments may be moved until the amendment under discussion has been disposed of. If we get an amendment, we will display the amendment on screen, and it will also be circulated to all members via email. Each member can speak once on an amendment, except for the mover of the original motion. They have a right of reply before the amendment is put to the vote, but may not otherwise speak on it. If, following the vote, the amendment is carried, it becomes the substantive motion, and the original one falls away. If the amendment falls, the debate goes back to the original motion. When there is 15 minutes left of the time allowed for motions, the Chair will confirm the number of people registered to speak at that point. No further registrations will be taken, and we will work through those already registered until the expiry of the time allowed. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I would like to move a motion without notice, please. Normally, when we have motions, it tends to run past half an hour. The Constitution only allows for half an hour for motions. We have 4 motions. It's highly likely from past experience that we'll not get past the first one or the second one, perhaps. So I would ask that, so we can make sure that, for example, Councillor Grimes' second motion can actually be debated, that we suspend standing orders to allow us to debate for longer than 30 minutes. Thank you, Chair.
What do you want a link for, Billy?
A seconder, please.
Second that, Chair.
Thanks very much.
Chair, we don't wish to extend the time for motions.
Do we have a seconder for that?
Seconded.
Right.
No, we don't need that to be seconded, but that does indicate dissent in the room. So rather than seek agreement from the floor, it would be put the motion without notice to a vote, so which we can now do.
Oh my God, this is so amateur.
Chair, could we have a name vote on that, please?
These people have never been to a council meeting before. Never mind being a councillor.
Got the sufficient numbers, thank you.
So just bear with the team whilst they load that vote into the system. The buzzer will sound when the voting is open. You will vote 1 in favour to extend the time and 2 to vote against the extension of time, 3 to abstain.
Then you have to say that twice. They're all boring. Yes. Well, it is county council politics. Graham is just
Durham County Council meeting
live YouTube. No, you've got to go through the council site because it's not. Do you want the link to this? Right. I can do that for you. It's unlisted, so you've got to go through that. You've got to go through the council website, or I can give you the link.
Chair, point of explanation, please. Here, Chair. Just a question for the Head of Legal and Democratic Services. I might be mistaken this, but I remember when I first opened the paperwork that the order of the motions was different, i.e. the incinerator motion was at the top. Have I just misread something, or did... No.
No, the motions are presented in the order in which they were received by the team. So Councillor Grimes' motion was first, and then Councillor Stead's was second.
Oh my God, this is just...
Councillor?
This is so incompetent. They've turned the sound off. This isn't me. Oh my God, this is so tedious. What are they even doing? Has Grimes cracked one off under the desk yet? Yes, Brad, he clearly has. The actual chair, an actual chair would be more interesting than the chair. Yeah, I agree. I can't even hold my breath at the swimming pool, but I could give the internet a virus, says Trip. Yep, there are cables under the ocean, 5 of them, I think. Snip, snip, bye-bye for a few days. 5 of them? There's a lot more than that. There's loads of submarine cables. Check out all the submarine cables that go across the Pacific via Guam.
If we can close the vote now, please. As regards the motion to extend the time for Councillor Grimes' motion, we have 4 is 25 votes and against 61 votes. So the motion falls and the time will not be extended. Thanks very much.
So all the fuckers voted against it. So they're not going to have time to debate. They don't want to debate. They just want a dictatorship because this is what RefUK do. Very illustrative. Very, very illustrative here. Have to head off to sort out food. to watch PMQs. Yes. I will possibly have to just cut off for a moment just before PMQ starts. But if you do want to continue watching this rather than PMQs, then you are very welcome to do so. It's a bit shit that I can't run two
Can I now invite Councillor Grimes to move his first motion, please?
I could actually run 2 streams at once. It'd be very strange, but I could do it for when I got my laptop. Oh, here we go.
Thank you very much, Chair. I stand today to move the motion to rescind the climate emergency declaration made on the 20th of February 2019 and to instead ask this council to declare a County Durham care emergency, recognising
it's not one or the other. It's not a zero-sum game.
We face in both raising council tax and also our send provision. Some of the most vulnerable people in our
What a ridiculous false dichotomy you've set up there.
I noticed at the start, actually, of proceedings today that there was a lot of chitter-chatter between the Lib Dems and the Labour Party. I even spot the Tory and a Green. Some might say rarer than hen's teeth. I would never be so impertinent. But I see the seeds of a coalition forming on this council.
We all
it's a coalition, my friends.
On a point of order, this isn't going through the motion.
Against the people of County Durham, making us both colder.
Councillor Grimes, please. Thank you, Councillor Shuttleworth.
Nothing to do with the motion. I'm
Councillor Grimes,
finish your point, says the guy behind him.
Do we have a seconder, please? Sorry, my fault.
Carry on speaking, but he needs to speak on the debate.
Right.
Can I just put you back on the subject, please?
Yeah. Hey, it takes more than that to shut me up, Chair. Look, what I would say is, as a former news broadcaster, I could see the seeds of a coalition forming. It's going to be one for our residents to watch. Because I would argue, my friends, that actually this is a coalition against the residents of County Durham, actually advocating to make us both colder and poorer. I have here in my possession
that's a hard word
a Lib Dem leaflet.
What is this grandstanding about?
I have a Lib Dem leaflet that came through a door. It has the former leader of the council, Amanda Hopgood.
Chairman, point of order. This is not relevant to the motion.
Nothing to do with the motion.
Councillor Grimes. Head of Legal and Democratic Services.
I'm speaking about the motion. Anti-democratic. You lost the election. Allow me to speak.
This is about the motion, not you, the motion.
What a crafty wanker. Oh my God. What an idiot. Talk about the motion, you absolute twat. It went from wondering where the Darren Grimes show sign went. Yeah. Oh my God. What a self-aggrandizing twat. Yes. What's the point that you're trying to make? They've knocked the sound off. This useless chair is like, what do we do? What do we do? What do they want to do? He's an ex-cop, you know, the chair. He's the fucking, you know, Life on Mars. He's probably one of the Life on Mars cops from the 70s. He was like, she was bloody asking for it, wasn't she? Oh my God, he's a grubby little shit, says Acro Dave. Yeah, he's sitting there with his props.
I have to take an advice. Regards your Councillor Shuttleworth, actually Councillor Grimes was back on subject, and if I could ask Councillor Grimes to continue regarding his debate regarding this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I again rise to actually move my motion, hopefully I won't be interrupted this time. I have in my possession, my friends, a Lib Dem leaflet that came through the doors of residents in County Durham from the former leader of the council, Amanda Hopgood, and we've got Councillor Mark Wilkes there as well. And it says, the Lib Dems defend send children from Reform Party councillors.
Yes.
I put it to this council that actually it's the Reform Party defending our send kids from Lib Dem councillors.
You defend billionaires, that's who you defend. You defend the filthy fuel companies.
An opposition coalition that seeks to make our residents both colder and poorer.
Why are we colder and poorer?
Shame. What I would say, colleagues, is that actually we mustn't mince words about any of this, and as you know, I'm not one to do that. The 2019 climate emergency was a Lib Dem feel-good motion, chasing net zero rainbows whilst the likes of China belch out coal more than Sauron's
What's China
Mordor.
got to do with it? This is Durham, not China.
Durham's cut emissions, the country's cut emissions.
Why make it illegal to kill people when they're killing people in
Council
Sudan?
Operations are a measly blip compared to international emissions.
Oh, okay, because murders happen in other countries. Murders shouldn't be illegal here. What a
for nothing.
What a shit argument.
Just yesterday in Parliament, Esther McVeigh asked one of our Labour colleagues' pals, the Secretary of State for Energy, Ed Miliband, 3 simple questions about net zero. She asked about the cost. He couldn't say. She asked who pays. He waffled. She asked about the temperature impact.
It's cheaper than what we're doing at the moment.
And I'm afraid to say that the opposition and the former administration had much the same. It was all about feeling good around the dining tables of those who can afford to take on such a burden. And I'm afraid our residents and the residents I speak to who open their energy bills with a panic
because the price of gas. Because the price of gas.
The National Audit Office calls it unsustainable.
Because the price of fossil fuels.
Certainly a target of 2020 would be, which is what we had this council signed
up to. A little bit of a Max Headroom
and that,
moment
my
there
friends,
for
I
old
would
Darren
argue, is putting it mildly. The previous administration's eye-watering borrowing, for example, that would have left us actually trying to find the money for send kids, doing that alongside a target.
That's because your mates in the Tory party decided to restrict the amount of central funding for councils all over the country.
One minute, Councillor Grimes.
So what I would say, my friends, is maybe if we need to raise a bob or two, we could ask the people outside to pay for tickets next time. They are, of course, all friends with members of the opposition. So I put it to you in summation that actually, Chair, we on this side of the chamber, we do seek to declare that a real care emergency that's devouring our kids and
a care emergency's got nothing to do with net zero, you absolute lemon.
In moving this motion, for my colleagues to back me on this and to actually say that we are done with expensive virtue signalling tripe and we care instead about our residents. I call now on Councillor Allison to second the motion.
Thanks very much, Councillor Grimes.
Thank you, Chair. I second the motion and I reserve the right to speak.
Thanks very much, Councillor. I see we have a list of people who would like to speak on the motion. And I would like to call on Councillor Lindsay Fox to speak, please.
Another refucker. Go on, refucker.
Thank you, Chair.
Tell us what send has got to do with
this
net
motion
zero.
is not about climate versus care.
It is.
It is about telling the truth.
That's literally the name of it,
Durham,
you stupid
transparently
twat.
and with courage. The previous administration focused on the climate emergency, which saw a focus on net zero roads, EV chargers and solar panels.
Yes.
Targets were raised above and beyond the national ambition.
Yes.
But that same success is why now is the time to rescind the emergency, keep it as a priority. But the truth is, this council is being crippled by the significant and sharp increases in the cost of care for our most vulnerable. Children,
it's not one or the other. You just said that it wasn't one versus the other.
And
then you said that it was.
This council's net budget is spent on care, and this is only going up.
Yes.
Leaving the council to operate on less than 40% for the rest of our services. The people of County Durham deserve to know this. Looked after children placement costs have increased by 285% over the last 5 years. With no
whose
additional
fault is
funding
that?
from government
You
to help meet those
gobshites are taking us out of the European Union.
Spending on special educational needs.
Hey, maybe you could have asked for some Objective 1 funding. You hadn't taken us out of the European Union.
Deficit against the grant we received to fund this service, set to hit 38 million by the end of March 2026.
Look at the mess I made. Look at the mess we made. Isn't it terrible? Let's make it worse.
This 114 million cumulative deficit by 2029 would simply wipe out our reserves by that point and force us to declare a Section 114 notice.
No, it wouldn't. This has got nothing to do with climate change.
Our vulnerable residents and their families deserve a system that is not overstretched and broken. They deserve a system where we are not struggling to provide enough send provision, help or preventative support. We cannot leave our most vulnerable
Why are you making it one or the other?
This council is afraid to speak up.
Why are you making it one or the
People
other?
of our county deserve to not only know why services are being cut historically,
So
but
you're
as a
moaning
council,
about
we have to
send
find an additional
costing
45
so much,
million in
care
savings
costing so much.
just to continue the
And
status
you're gonna make
quo
some
between
savings.
26-27 and 28-29, based on what the previous
Jesus
council approved as
Christ.
a medium-term financial plan in February 25.
Just 1 minute.
We are at the limits of what is possible, and the reality is one bad winter, spike in flu or illness could push this council close to the edge. This motion is not symbolic. It's a warning and a call for action.
What you're
Declaring a
talking
care
is fucking
emergency will be the
symbolics.
first of its kind in the country, but hopefully
Yeah,
not the
first of the
last.
kind.
Because here in County Durham,
There's
we've
no one
never
else
been
gonna do
afraid
it.
to stand up when something is wrong. And we
What?
need to be calling out now, so our voices
What?
are heard nationally, that there is a problem with the funding to County Durham from government and that the fairer funding formula does not go far enough.
What?
As a county, we have a long
unmitigated
history
gobshite.
of challenging a national system that doesn't understand the realities of life in our communities. County Durham
sorry,
has never been
does
afraid
young
to say
lady
what
behind
needs
you
be
who went to
said, and we
private
understand
fucking
again.
school?
This
Does
motion
she
is a line in the
understand the
sand
everyday problems
that says that
of
we
kids with
see the
SEND
crisis.
needs?
We acknowledge the
Fuck
impossible
off.
decisions that have been made to date and those that will come without intervention. So we call on other councils to join us, to stop pretending, to stop renaming budget lines, and to shout
Renaming
loudly
budget
that
lines,
SEND provision
what?
and care funding from the government
Councillor.
is inadequate.
Time. Thanks very much.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks very much.
Go to the government and ask for more SEND funding. You don't have to stop giving money to, just investing
Thank you
in
very much.
green
I now
energy.
call on Councillor Andrew Husband to speak, please.
God, so 3 of them in a row.
Thank you, Chair. So just to set the scene, you are now working with a council that states facts, not fiction.
Okay, here's a fact.
You are data-driven,
Your last company went
driven by
bust,
common
owing
sense.
£1 million.
I want to give you a little
There's
bit
a
of summary
fact.
from the Oxford
Knobhead.
Language English Dictionary, and it's a definition of the word emergency.
How about a definition of the word
serious,
crook?
unexpected, often dangerous situation requiring immediate action.
Yes.
I'll leave that with you.
Yes.
Another definition, or quote,
You
I would
require
like to follow
immediate
with,
action because you should be in
The definition
fucking
of
jail.
insanity is doing the same thing again, as per the previous administration, and expecting different results.
No.
So without stealing the thunder from my
We're
colleagues,
seeing results in
I've
Durham.
got some commentary to leave with you.
We're seeing results
So
in Durham.
let's talk net
I see
zero
more
technology, lithium
electric
mining.
cars
For every ton of
around these
lithium
parts
provided,
than there do
produced
anywhere
from
else in
hard rock
Britain.
mining, 15 tonnes of CO2 are released. The CO2 production and continues in the manufacturing process, distribution, installation,
about? What are
and
you
the end
talking
of
about?
life of renewable technologies.
What are you talking about?
I've already reached out to the CEO of Weardale Lithium to discuss this very
Oh,
subject,
lithium.
proactively
Okay.
looking at ways to put Durham at the forefront of the power source for solar technologies whilst reducing its environmental impact. Now I
yeah?
want to talk about climate
yeah?
change in County Durham. During the Roman-occupied era, not far away from
Roman-occupied
County Durham,
era.
around 45 AD, there is evidence of Roman vineyards along Hadrian's
Roman
Wall. I want to bring this to your attention. This is because the Roman period in Britain is known for having a relatively warm climate, which would have been conducive to growing grapes. Mind how the climate has changed, Darren. Another fact.
Oh,
not a
fuck
fact,
off, you
fun fact,
sarky
unfortunately, but
twat.
taking in the book produced by authors Professor Tim Burt and Dr. Stephen Burt, Durham Weather and Climate since 1841. Research confirms
So he's
that
standing
there
there
has been a mean
denying
average
climate
temperature
change because
increase
these
since the
knobheads
decade
think they know
1851
more
to
than fucking
1860
all of the
of
climate
1.62
scientists
degrees
and Sir
indeed.
David
The
Attenborough.
book also references the Great Flood of
I don't recall to
1771.
David Attenborough
Heavy
winding
rain
up a
in
business
November
owing £1
that year
million.
led to the 3 arches of the Elbert Bridge being washed away and the city's corn mill badly
Yes,
damaged.
we do sometimes have
It was only
extreme weather
yesterday we
events.
actually met with Hydro.
We don't have one every week, though.
To look at weather, water harvesting, recycling technology.
Trying to
for our
argue
Morrison
against
Busty
the
facility.
fact
We can
of
see that
man-made
we need to
climate
invest-
1
change.
minute, Councillor.
I'll cut to the chase.
Oh, please do. Oh, please actually just fuck off.
In this room,
lying sack of shit.
Please raise your hand if you have upgraded your cooking appliances to induction, invested in solar, invested in battery storage, has underfloor heating, has invested in polybead cavity wall insulation,
So what's the
has
problem?
invested in an EV charging point.
Yeah, because you got the money to do it, because you robbed £1 million off
it seems
people.
the leader of the council
rest
is
of us
doing
don't have the
more
money
for
to
the
do that kind of
opposition
thing.
when it comes to protecting our environment.
How about
I've
giving us
invested in
some
solar,
fucking?
only to bear
How about giving some subsidies?
the likes of. Anyway, one final note. The North East has 2.3% contributed to the UK's 1% approx of global CO2 emissions. County Durham is 33% of the 2.3% of the 1%, roughly 0.007%.
What? So what?
I rest my case.
What are you going to say that? Well, we've only
Thank
got
you, Councillor. Thanks for that.
0.0001% of the murders of the fucking world. So let's make murder legal. What a
I now
stupid
call on
fucking
Councillor
argument.
Joe Quinn. Oh, sorry. Just to remind people, we have 15 minutes left of the time allotted. and we have 13 members registered to speak. No further registrations to speak will be accepted, and we will invite those registered to speak in order until the expiry of the time limit.
Oh my God.
I will then look to wrap up the debate. I now call on Councillor Joe Quinn to speak, please.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would like to offer my full
God,
support
what
for
the
this motion.
fuck are you wearing,
It
you
seems this day and age,
inconsolable
Chair, everything
twat?
is indeed a crisis or an emergency. Well, Chair, in my humble opinion, if everything is an
This guy
emergency,
joking?
nothing is. I don't actually think anybody is against the care emergency, Chair. But some of us...
What?
Excuse me, Chair. I mean, we're all quiet while they speak. I would expect the same courtesy back.
What, you haven't let them speak? None of them have
I don't think any
spoken?
of us-
It's all been you
Thanks for
fuckers.
reminding us, Chair.
So far, this debate
Quinn,
has
you can
involved
just
four
whisper
people
a
who
bit
agree with
quieter,
each other.
please, and less theatrical.
Fuck you, gobshites.
Thank you, Chair. I don't think anyone is actually against the care emergency, but some of us clearly are against the climate emergency.
Why are you dressed like
Let's
such
not
a
forget
twat?
the fact that the
Oh God,
residents
he's
of
only got
County
the one
Durham
suit.
voted overwhelmingly for Reform UK, and we have a mandate that is very clear and very
mandate?
simple. We aren't anti-clean energy, Chair, but we are
You are?
anti-net zero at a huge cost to the taxpayer.
A
Let's take,
player?
for example,
What's a
£4
taxpayer?
million
Is that like a
to divert our
taxpayer?
fleet to electric vehicles. That number did not factor in lost man hours due to charging during the work hours.
What? No
Now,
one
Chair,
charged.
you could
What
argue
are you
that
talking
these
about?
vehicles are
Charging
left
during the
to
work
charge
hours?
overnight.
Yeah, they are.
I would accept that. However,
Yes.
when I visited one of our depots recently, I asked that very question. The answer I got was, the range on a vehicle is about 100 miles, and our workers do around 200 miles within the day.
That is
I'll let you
absolute
do the math,
bollocks. 100 miles.
Higher lease rates than
That's
diesel
just a lie.
vehicles
That's
with
just an
rising
absolute
cost
lie.
of energy makes these types of deals totally uneconomical. But here, it fits in that
Even your
zero
shittest
agenda.
DVs now have a range
Chair,
of 200 miles, you
let's not forget
dickhead.
the electric bin wagon, which costs twice as much as a regular diesel one, and since 2021 has done 17,141 kilometres, while a diesel one has done 66,843 kilometres. That's a total difference of 49,702 kilometres.
Fuck's sake.
Chair, I fully support this motion, and I ask all members to think carefully before
Yeah,
they
let's
vote.
keep burning
Vote for common sense,
foreign
vote for
slime.
this motion.
You can't beat foreign
Give
slime
Councillor
in your
Quinn.
vehicle. Quick, get some more foreign slime. Put it in our vehicles. We don't want British energy. We don't want
now
Durham
call on
created energy
Councillor
for
Mark
Durham.
Brooks.
Off the coast of fucking Durham.
Thank you, Chair.
Might get a
I
bit
think, just by way
sensible,
of
isn't it?
correction, it's more than 57% what we've cut carbon emissions by, Councillor Grimes. Chair, I'd like to move an amendment, and that amendment is to remove paragraph 1 of the motion, and it's for the following reasons. This Council's action on tackling climate change has helped save over £13 million in the last year alone.
Yeah.
Stopping work on tackling the climate emergency would risk the loss of external funding. Stopping investor-saved projects being led by our officers risks less money to invest in social care.
Yeah.
This is not an either-or.
Yeah.
This is the financial reason why we need to remove paragraph 1. So for any councillor wanting to scrap the climate declaration on financial grounds, don't. You're going to make things worse. You know, a report before the elections in May showed that 54% of voters who plan to vote for Reform UK support policies to stop climate change and to put in place targets to keep the UK on track. Not everyone who voted for you voted for this. I'd like you to read to you what one young person, Poppy, sent me. As a young person and proud resident of Durham, I'm calling on you to uphold the Council's climate emergency declaration. To me, this declaration represents the Council's care for young people's futures.
Yep.
For my future.
Yep.
Rescinding it would ignore the voices of thousands of scientists, but perhaps more importantly, it also ignores the people of Durham. Every young person I know is worried about climate change. We're terrified of what our future might look like if we don't act.
Yep.
Even in my short lifetime, I've noticed the changes around me, the dwindling wildlife, the heat waves and the floods. And it's not just young people. A 2025 report found that over 70% of people in the North East are concerned about climate change. Rescinding this declaration would therefore be a failure by this Council to represent the feelings of Durham residents.
Yeah.
And I hope that as a Council, you will choose to continue protecting young people's futures.
Why do you want to buy
There's tens of thousands of young
slime?
people in this county who don't want you to do this. Chair, As all new councillors will see in the coming months, the issues we face in social care have nothing whatsoever to do with climate change.
Yeah.
I find Councillor Grimes' conflation of the climate emergency with the financial pressures we face in children's social care to be quite frankly cynical and insulting.
Yep.
If not for the environment, then on economic grounds. Please support this amendment and stand up for all your residents, and especially those who are too young to vote today, but will be old enough to vote one day. Councillor Jonathan Elmer will second the amendment.
Good stuff.
Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Jonathan Elmer, Brandon Division. Very happy to second
Jonathan.
this amendment. And I want to make it clear that I support the part of the motion that calls for a care emergency declaration. However, reform of tabled a motion that conflates the climate emergency and the care emergency. Both are clearly important, but this motion forces two issues to be addressed with a single vote. So councillors can't vote to oppose the scrapping of the climate emergency declaration without also opposing a care emergency.
Yeah, mental.
So, following the advice of the vast majority of the planet's scientists, Durham County Council declared the climate emergency in 2019. In fact, many councils across the country have done the same, and the broader movement has demonstrated that councils can set an example. They can make a difference. But this motion signals the reverse. It says this is not an issue for Durham County Council. It's a head-in-the-sand approach. It's a don't look up approach.
Yeah.
And of course, to abandon efforts to address the causes of the climate emergency signals to the oil industry that they can progress with business as usual. And what is business as usual? Well, without global intervention, this will mean a catastrophic 3 to 5 degree rise in global temperature by 2100. We haven't seen that sort of a rise for about 20 million years. So this motion takes us back well beyond the Stone Age. But what difference can Durham make on the international stage when the likes of the USA, China and India emit so much more? Well, you should know that this year, for the very first time, one of those countries, China, has registered an annual decrease in carbon emissions, frankly giving hope to us all. Signals are important and can make a difference. So what's happening here and now? The Met Office have just reported that heat waves are now much more likely, and this will impact on the most vulnerable in society, in particular older people and children. The UK Parliament Climate Change Committee has recently reported high winds, that we're woefully unprepared for the future impacts of climate change. So flooding, high winds and unseasonal heat waves. Chaotic weather is also impacting on food production as fields become waterlogged or impacted by drought. That's what's happening here in County Durham. And this motion signals to the oil industry that they can progress with business as usual. Signals are important. Finally, I want to touch on the economic impacts of this signal. Durham County Council commissioned a green economy report in 2023. So we know low carbon goods and services, that sector across County Durham is worth an estimated 1.7 billion. This includes 600 businesses employing over 11,000 people.
Wow.
The green economy is growing at 6 times the speed of the mainstream economy. Durham County Council has made a cumulative 60 million saving through energy efficiency measures.
Thanks very much, Councillor. I'm afraid your time's up.
So I urge you to support this amendment. Thank you, folks.
Yeah, well done, Jonathan. Should I text him and say well done? No, okay. Oh my God. Like, they're obviously not going to go for this motion, but they've done this on purpose.
We have councillors who were actually registered to speak before the amendment was introduced. The debate is now on the amendment. So if you wish to speak regarding the amendment, you will remain in the queue, and we'll keep going until the time runs out.
What, in 3 minutes' time?
Yep. So the next one we have on the list is Councillor Hope.
I love that you can hear the woman next to him telling him what to say.
Carry on.
Sorry, Chair, I thought we'd agreed we wouldn't go beyond the 30 minutes. We started at 11:11. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I started on my time at 11:18, working off the clock up here. I've written it down, 11:18, 11:33 is the 15-minute mark, and 11:48.
I wrote 11:11 on my laptop.
I don't give a fuck what you vote, mate.
Well, thanks for that, Councillor, but
Thanks for that,
I'll work on
knobhead.
Helen time.
Will you
Thank
shut
you.
the fuck up now. Oh, I don't want a debate. Why are we having a debate? Is this going behind the fucking democracy, is it?
Thank you, Chair. I wasn't planning on speaking after Councillor Shuttleworth's outcry. I would invite Councillor Shuttleworth.
Excuse me, that was a point of order. It wasn't an outcry. Point of order. And I'm entitled to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, what I would just want to say is, would Councillor Shuttleworth just, think about driving into County Hall on a daily basis in his diesel guzzling van for his claiming of expenses? Also, the mining of material...
Chair, on a point of order, will you just put this man in his place, please? That is not relevant. What I do has nothing to do with anybody in here.
Can I just say that it's really inappropriate to actually say, put this man in his place? We should all we debate, not hate.
Enough.
What?
Thank you.
We're all debating for the exact amount of minutes that you... for the 10 minutes you've given to the debate. They finally had someone from the opposition speak. They let 4 people from RefUK's
Councillors, can we just take a bit of a step back here? We're trying to debate a point, and it's an important point, and we're trying to show the public that we are really serious about trying to sort out County Durham's issues and help the people. So just calm down, and we'll just carry on with the debate and regarding this amendment. Thanks very much. Councillor Hope.
Thank you, Chair. The mining of lithium for lithium batteries is rife with child slavery.
Oh, you care about that now, do you?
The globe, particular in Africa.
Right.
The production of solar panels
Should
is
we talk about
also
the Niger
widely
Delta?
documented for its
It's about
use
all the
of
wars
child
that have been
and
fought
adult
over your
slave
foreign
labour
slime.
in China. The UK
China.
was instrumental in abolishing the slave trade, with William Wilberforce.
We were instrumental in making fucking 300 years worth of money out of it
gathering
first.
evidence and organising public opinion campaigns. Earl Grey, who was the British Prime Minister,
Okay, so you're going to take all the good things that we did and say that's
his
us.
government passed the
And all the bad things, we never did that.
Abolition Act of 1833.
Well, we got fucking ancient history. You're going to start telling us about Roman vineyards again?
Child or adult slave labour, and I believe.
Well, you got
the
a
guys on
massive
this side of
statue
the
of some
House
twat on a
also
horse in our
do
city
not believe in
centre
adult
of a child slaver.
I believe the guys on the other side must believe in adult child slave labour because they have not
Why?
took that into consideration.
Okay, do you not have a phone? It's got lithium in,
Also,
twat.
the
You don't have a phone?
on the social care.
Don't have a laptop?
We were approached a couple of weeks ago from Villarreal School. Villarreal School is a SEND school. That school was asking for £22,000 to support that school. That school is in Councillor Rooney's ward, and all of us, as in Reform councillors, the 6 of us, have pledged £2,444 into that school. If this is not an emergency where we are having to go into our local access funds to support these kids, I don't know what is.
1 minute.
What's that got to do with the environment, you twat?
Thanks very much.
The anti-science agenda. Oh, you can either support children with special needs,
Councillor
or
Boron, do you want to
can
speak?
Stop the climate emergency. Tackle the
Chair.
climate emergency.
The welfare of children and young people must be one of the highest priorities for every councillor in this chamber,
Right, so
especially here in County Durham.
how is that
We are
not
collectively
the rest of their lives not
corporate
important?
parents. Before my election as Durham County Councillor, I volunteered at food banks across the county, and remain committed to
Country or
continuing
county?
this work.
Or the country?
First-hand, the
That wasn't
remarkable
me.
generosity
That
of
wasn't
our
me.
residents.
That was the
People
laptop
offer
of the
their
person
time,
who's sending
money
this out.
and support
It's got a
to
notification.
assist vulnerable members of our community, including disabled individuals, homeless, families and working people. I've seen the devastating
£2,000, how
effects of
generous
poverty
twat,
on men,
says
women
Billy,
and children in our area, many in urgent need of support. I also volunteered in the special education needs and disability departments. As a parent of a children
and what?
attending a
So do you want a
school,
fucking medal?
I have a deep understanding of the daily challenges
What do you want?
face.
What do you want?
While I acknowledge that safeguarding our children requires careful financial planning, it is crucial.
I'm sorry about the quality of this picture. This is not me. This is the feed that we're getting. This is supposed to be 720p.
The well-being of our children. Throughout my time representing the district, I am proud to serve Chiltern Ward. I've heard very little from residents regarding climate emergency. During our election
Never debate an
campaigns,
established
surgeries
fact. Yeah.
and in meetings, residents are constantly expressed concerns about the pressing issues of cost of living and poverty.
Yes. Cost me £3 to get from Durham to Liverpool in my electric car.
The most foremost priorities for the people we represent.
£3.
Many members in this chamber will likely agree that the issues facing our communities, partly in terms of poverty, demand our immediate attention and
Yeah, we can do something about the energy poverty that we have by unsuckling from the teat of filthy foreign fuel.
Carers. These individuals play a vital role in ensuring that children and young people remain within the family units.
1 minute, Councillor.
Which research has shown provides significant long-term benefits. Kinship
Not if the
carers
family
need
unit
not
is
only our
abusive.
recognition, but also a tangible support both to form
What's this got to do with climate change?
The current concerns of our residents are not centred on abstract issues. They are focused on the immediate challenges of making ends meet and long-term effects of poverty on their children's futures. The people who elect us have done so with the expectation that we will prioritise these needs, not the interests of large corporations.
The incompetence of these people
funds
is just
seeking
insane.
to profit from exploiting our communities and our
Hedge
environment.
funds. Hedge funds. You're against hedge fund now. What? It's all over the shop like a pork
fully
chop.
support Councillor Grimes' motion, and I
Why?
echo his sentiment.
For the hedge funds?
I want child
For the oil
poverty
companies?
Zero, not energy zero.
What? That doesn't
Thanks
make
for
any
that,
sense.
Councillor.
Yeah, keep sucking down your foreign slime. Your foreign oily slime.
We have run out of time.
Filthy
We will
fossil
now
fuel
move
bastard.
to wrap up this debate.
Filthy
Councillor
fossil fuel
Grimes,
bastard.
you have a right to reply to the amendment. Would you like to exercise that before we move to a
not more
vote?
of this gobshite. Who's watching this going, oh, this is our guy? Oh, yeah, go on, Darren.
Thank you, Chair. I will.
Well, you know.
On Councillor Wilkes's point there, the clarification on emissions, he is of course right and doing my job for me, I rather think actually, in highlighting the progress County Durham has made on net zero. 64% is DCC's share. Now, is it an emergency then if we've reduced it by 64%?
It hasn't gone away.
Would you say to a patient that's 64% better, that they're on death's door? I don't think you would you? I think people.
If you got rid of 64% of a cancer, you're pretty fucked the next week, aren't you, you twat?
To our cause after that helpful
Point of personal
intervention.
explanation, that will never happen.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
The Green councillor, in seconding the amendment, mentioned there that 20 million years, that's the last time you have to go back since things were this bad in his language.
Yeah.
Well, it's funnily enough, my friends,
Patronising
that
piece of
20
shit.
million years, we'll all be running around in loincloths and living in caves if they get their way.
What?
We have made
What the
sufficient
fuck?
savings.
Hey?
Solar panels, scrapped. Vanity projects on top of our
Solar
leisure
panels
centres.
scrapped? What?
EV bin wagons that cost double the price. Thank you, I'm losing my voice now.
I've never seen a fucking EV bin wagon round here, mate. Thank God you're losing your voice. Shut the
EV
fuck
bin
up.
wagons double the price of diesel ones, which I think actually is not the priority of County Durham, where actually we just want our bins collected and we want it done at a fair price, not to be asked to put up council tax so that Councillor Wilkes
The ongoing costs of having an
feel good about
EV
themselves
absolutely
by an expensive
outweigh
bin wagon.
a foreign slime.
Facts of the
A
matter are
personal
with
explanation, that bin wagon was bought before the joint administration took over. It probably will, over its lifetime, actually save the money of the extra cost.
Did you cancel it, Councillor Wilkes?
Yeah.
Did I cancel it?
Yeah, did you cancel
What,
it?
waste money? I don't do that.
Councillors,
your job.
Very
Yeah.
clearly, very clearly.
If you want to carry on the humour,
The facts
please.
of the matter are that we need to resist this amendment. We need to vote for the amendment, the motion as it was proposed.
Vote for the
because
amendment.
We need to protect our communities. We need to put children over carbon. So
1 minute.
Apparently
Grant.
solar panels will lead us back to
I think we
prehistoric
should have
times,
a
yeah.
named vote
In 10
as
million
well,
time,
Chair,
in
if
10
I
million
could
years.
just ask for that. Thank you very much.
We've definitely got 10 people. Thank you. So, we will go to the vote.
Fuck off, Darren Grimes, you piece of shit.
Which is on the amendment. I stress, we are going to the vote on the amendment.
Oh, no, don't stress that. Don't stress that. Don't tell them. They'll fuck it up. They'll be like, no, this is the vote. Okay, it's the vote. Okay, we're going to vote yes for the vote, for the motion. No, it's the vote for the amendment. He's going to have to explain now which button to press, isn't he? He's going to have to go button 1 to say yes, button 2 to say no. How hilarious would it be if one of these racist, immigrant-hating reform people on this chat right now says, Chip Chip, really doubt they will be. I've rarely seen a better candidate.
We haven't opened the vote yet, if you wait for the buzzer.
Boiling blood than Darren Grimes. Children are made of carbon, at least a little bit. Yeah, we are. Carbon-based life forms.
So that is your vote open. It's 1 in favour of the amendment, 2 against, 3 to abstain. If you press the wrong button, pressing the right button will correct your vote. And if you do have a problem with your handset at this point, please do raise it in the air.
I knew they'd have to do that. It's 1 to vote yes, 2 to vote. Jesus Christ. Anyway, we're going to have to leave this in a few moments' time because we have to go across to PMQs with Graham Hughes. Here's Graham Hughes with the news PMQs. Yay! Fucking hell. What a time to be alive!
We're going to close the vote now if everybody's took the time to vote.
Jesus Christ. Now, I've set things up so you won't have to go to my channel again to try and find PMQs. You'll go directly there from here once we finish. We're going to finish at 11:59 or thereabouts, and then we're going to go straight over to PMQs. So there you go. Council version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Yeah.
As regards Councillor Wilkes' amendment, we have 24 for his amendment.
24?
61 against his amendment.
All of the refuckers.
1 abstention. So the amendment falls. The amendment falls. So we go back to the original motion. Now, Councillor Allinson reserved her right to speak. Would you like to exercise that right to speak before we ask Councillor Grimes to give his right to reply?
Yes, please.
So
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
So I think I'm going to take a bit of a different approach after hearing everybody. I'm going to actually tell you what Reform are going to do.
Fuck everything for everyone.
We're going to actively explore looking at new innovative low-carbon energy solutions such as deep geothermal, data servers at leisure centres, and we can utilise the heat. Solar panels over car parks, not on valuable farmland. I think Councillor Husband touched on this before, so we're going to be working with the North Pennines National Landscape, so we're going to be growing moss, we're going to be growing plants at the Morris and Busty, and this is going to enable the expansion of peat bogs and wetlands. These globally capture over 500 billion tonnes of CO2 annually. Again, you touched on this, we're looking at the hydro cell schemes to prevent flooding and capture rainwater. We're running tree planting programmes throughout the county, including a new 1,200-acre forest, and this will capture up to 12,000 tonnes of CO2 annually as well. Alongside this, we're looking at a biochar system. This creates a green energy source, captures carbon, and it also produces a valuable byproduct at the end of it.
Yeah, she's she's saying that this is all the green stuff they're going to do.
County Durham, especially within urban areas, which act as vital food source and habitat for pollinators like bees and butterflies. We're going to reduce the use of weed killer, allowing hedgerows and shrubs to flourish and create little pockets of.
So why are you wasting time declaring the climate emergency over for the headlines? Okay, so you're listing all this stuff, the green stuff that you're doing. So this is all about the headlines, then, is it?
So all of this can be achieved at a fraction of the
ABC
cost.
Always be campaigning.
And it
These
saves
fuckers
the
get
taxpayer
it.
Millions of pounds.
I hate them, but they get it.
Still looking after the environment on a more ecological level.
Ecological level. The environment
Thank you, Councillor.
Ecological level. I thought she meant economical level, maybe. But she said economic.
Councillor Grimes, you've got anything you want to add?
Oh, fuck off, Grimy Grimes.
Chair, just to say from the off, we would like to request a named vote.
He doesn't look like a light bulb anymore.
Our motions.
They'll turn the exposure down a bit. I know I'm a bit overexposed, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, thanks for that. Is there anything you want to add in the right to reply?
I will. It's just to reiterate, Chair, the send issue here. You know,
no, he's a light bulb again.
Information that we received from one of our finance officers, you know, the spend starting at 58.5 million in 18-19, that overspend of 7.4 million back then, by 2023 to 2024, you've got that going up to 91.8 million against an 89.9 million grant. We are facing a black hole of the kind that even Rachel Reeves couldn't make up. The facts of the matter is that this is completely unsustainable. It is a complete dereliction of duty to overlook this and not take this moment to reprioritise our council's focus on our most vulnerable communities. And they do not, in my opinion, include subsidised industries. Durham's 119 kids per 10k in care. The North East average is 114. We are above the North East average. We are certainly above England's average of 70. I repeat what I said earlier. The National Audit Office said that this is financially unsustainable, and we are facing, in this council, a deep reckoning if we do not deal with it right this instant.
What's it got to do with climate change?
Net zero, right, is to triple
what
cost
has it got to do with climate change?
Decade payback solar diverted from early help. They were proposing putting solar panels on top of the Louisa Centre, where I'm from in Stanley. I'll tell you what, it wouldn't last 2 minutes. There'd be a pensioner, I nearly said there, a pigeon burrowed within it within moments. And then we have to pay, of course, for the costs of these things.
What? The fuck? Your other woman just said you were going to spend all this money on solar panels.
We need to declare.
Now you're not. All right, mate. Make your fucking mind up.
Every piece of expenditure. We need to shunt our pennies to our vulnerable children.
1 minute, Councillor.
Newton Europe looked into all of this, Chair. This isn't coming from me. This isn't coming from Reform. This isn't come from what they might call a right-wing tabloid. This is coming from independent consultants who have looked at the council's books and determined that actually we are in a totally unsustainable position. So the choice before us, my friends, is actually, do we go with performative gesturing politics, virtue signalling, or do we go for common sense?
Virtue signalling.
Do we prioritise bends over bluster?
What, like wearing a fucking
poppy? Do we actually explain to people in my ward in Anfield Plain why they're actually waiting goodness only knows how long for some SEND support, and instead the council is funding...
Okay, we're going to cross to PMQs in a moment. It hasn't started yet. If you want to continue listening to this windbag, I've just put the link in for this video. You can watch it straight on YouTube. The rest of us are going to go over to PMQs.
Young first. Reform delivers this day and every day.
Fuck off, you bunch of gobshites. But we are going to have a deliver, because he did say deliver. Right, so thanks very much. I'm going to be heading over now to do PMQs with Graham Hughes. So please join me for that in a moment. It's about to get started on this channel. You'll be taken over there automatically, so don't worry about trying to find it. So stay tuned. I'll see you in a moment. Bye.